It's that time again. Welcome to the stage. Oh yeah. Where energy and creativity collide. Here we go. Let's level up. Make this something to remember. All right.
Hello and welcome, esports fans. We are here. We are live. The NACE Star League action coming at you. Little Rocket League action here today. I'm FBI Tugboat. I'm here with my man, Powder. Power, how we doing?
Tugboat, I simply cannot be better. I mean, we're finally here, the semifinals. It's the last night of the true broadcast for Rocket League until we reach those grand finals. We're going to have just one match tonight against Northwood and, forgot off the top of my head, Rochester University. It's going to be a banger of a matchup. One of these teams is going to secure that spot in that in-person grand final, and you know both of them want it coming in undefeated.
Absolutely. 7-0, both of these teams, y'all. Before we talk about the present, we gotta talk about the past a little bit. Let's talk about the season format, kind of how it is exactly that we got here. For those watching for our first time here, let's go ahead and check that one out as far as the season format here. Of course, we have, first off, our regular season. Everybody going through here might drop one or two, doesn't matter. Conference plans after that, conference coming in before the overall competitions and whatnot. Conference champions coming up there. Last chance qualifiers for those of y'all that did not make it in through their conference plays, and then playoffs. Obviously, that's where we're here right now, all coming through with the grand finals. That's going to be within the online format to see who punches their ticket here, Powder, to that land. Now, taking a look yet again here today, like we said, two 7-0 teams doing battle.
Yeah, Northwood University, Rochester University as well. Like we said, both 7-0. No one has dropped a match throughout anything. Regular season, conference championships, playoffs, obviously single elimination, no losses yet. And one of these teams is unfortunately going to have to go home. And after we wrap up with Rocket League tonight, we will be following up with a couple Call of Duty matches as well. West Virginia University, ODU, followed by SCU and NSU. But yeah, sticking with this Rocket League, this is going to be exciting because this is one of the top dogs in collegiate in Northwood going against a newcomer in Rochester.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. A more storied, more legendary Northwood squad right here. Now, Rochester did not get to 7-0 by any mistake. I think we have a match on our hands here. Talking about what's at stake here, of course, this is scholarship pricing, not actual cash in hand. $1,500 going on to first, $750 going on to second, and $375 for third. Not a bad little penny in the pocket here for playing some collegiate Rocket League, Powder.
No, not at all. Both of these, or I should say all of these teams in the top four have clinched at least that third, fourth spot in that prize pool. Of course, they're looking to get more heading into the grand finals potentially. Of course, at the top of the bracket, Northwood University, that first seed against Rochester University, and then off stream will be Keanu College and University of Missouri Columbia to be that other team heading into the grand finals. And another thing I like about the way that this bracket fell is that it's going to be East versus West. It's going to be a fun grand final. We get the rivalry there. And if you're joining Rocket League for the first time, remember we play 5-minute games with unlimited overtime. It is golden goal scenario if we do reach that overtime. It says best of 5, but we are playing a best of 7 in the semifinal. Yes. We'll win the series. All game settings will be on default, and the home team will play on the blue side. But going back to that rivalry, because it wasn't meant to be set up, or it wasn't necessarily intended to be set up that way. Everything was seeded accordingly to skill. It just happened to be that we're going to have East versus West in those grand finals.
Yes, how interesting. How interesting, right? Just another narrative here for you guys in the NACE Star League Rocket League. 4 teams left, only one punching their ticket all the way through these ones. And Powder, I kind of think we have agreed as far as to who we think might be punching that ticket here.
Right, Northwood University, you know, they're the reigning CRL world champions, and they're that way for a reason. It's still the same roster, no changes have been made, and they still competed highly in CRL regular season, you know, still finishing towards the top, still going to have, they're going to make a deep run in that league as well, and clearly they've made the deep run in NACE too, you know, deep runs throughout NACE in past seasons as well, and I think this might be the time where they're going to get to that grand final, and, you know, I'll be honest, I predict them to be the ultimate winner of NACE too, so I'll go on record saying that now. I really think Northwood has got this handled. However, you know, Rochester, they're not going to go away easily. They're undefeated for a reason, like you said, Tugboat, and yesterday actually reverse sweeping Boise State in a best of 7, no less, to get to this point. So Northwood, they're not going to want to mess around, even if they are highly favored.
Yes, exactly. Yesterday, the graphic was wrong. We said RIT, and that was actually Rochester University that we're going to be seeing right here. Speaking of sweep, kind of reverse sweep, like unexpected action, right? BPC, that is Bruton Parker College. Had to flip that one back right quick. Bruton Parker College took on MU, Missouri University, that squad out of there, Columbia, Missouri over there, the Tigers, and that was a 4-3, almost complete reverse sweep, right? The Tigers took game number 2, but then dropped down 2 more games, taking it just as close as you can get it. A 4-3 victory for them. Obviously, we see how far we have gone here. We have our top 4 teams, and neither Missouri nor Bruton Parker are part of it. Determining here today who's going to be moving on, but let's go ahead and check out. You talked about the rosters a little bit, right? You talked about the rosters. This is the full CRL squad, Lion Blaze Hockey Buddy, that you all know and love.
Right, and for Rochester as well, it's their same CRL roster too. Knight, Luca, and Skies coming in, finishing not in the top 8 of CRL, you know, getting into, they weren't able to make it into those playoffs, but they still had an impressive run for considering this is their first semester in CRL. And one thing that I know that helps out this roster as well is that this team has played together for a long time, competing in the bubble scene too. I know 2 of their players, they were on an interview earlier in the season, said they know each other since kindergarten, and that is the type of team chemistry that can come out huge here tonight against Northwood. I think they're really going to have to lean into that against a dog like Northwood. Otherwise, you know, they might be ending the run here tonight.
It's entirely fair. Entirely fair. Now, what will come on top? Perhaps the success within other high-level Rocket League competitions, or perhaps the connection between kindergarten schoolmates. Is that what you said?
Right, yep. Apparently it's known each other since kindergarten, and even then, they're third. They've still played together for a very long time. Like I said, they still compete under doodle bangers in the bubble scene, so that's just this experience that Rochester is able to bring. Obviously, you know, Northwood, they have that experience as well. They've been rostered together for a long time, too. But when you have that chemistry against somebody who's essentially your best friend at that point, I really think that might have a huge impact on this match here today.
Absolutely. While we get this one started, I want to talk about one of the organizations that do make this possible. That is Extra Life. Play games to change kids' health, change the future. You guys should join Extra Life today. I always say, as a bit of a personal note, I have dedicated a lot of my personal time to Extra Life. They're a fantastic organization. I would challenge each and every one of you to come up with a better cause than helping sick children, okay? Extra Life. Love them to death. 30 seconds into this one, no early scores.
Rochester, they're holding on the offense a little bit now. Northwood got a quick spurt of it right off the kickoff, but haven't seen it yet until they now march down. But instead, giving away possession over to Luca, who drops it down over towards Knight. Carries it into the corner, not going for anything too dangerous first. And this is interesting for Rochester because this is a team that normally likes to kind of send everything and go for a mechanical solo play down the field. But early on against Northwood, maybe not wanting to take that risk just yet.
Yeah, it makes sense. Both teams just kind of respecting each other. These have been long-winded offensive plays so far. Almost a full triple there from Northwoods University. Great job playing the defensive clear. Back out to the middle. Knight is looking to continue their gallop across the middle.
Yeah, like you said, nothing really happening for either team just yet. Hardly any shots if we've seen any quite yet. Northwood gaining the possession back will attempt to find one. Good challenge by Lion Blaze. Keeps it in a bit longer. Same with Hockey. This guy's trying to take over, can't do it. Instead, forced to give away the possession. Buddy racing in, cut off by Luca. Takes it into the air. Lion Blaze on the shot behind two off the crossbar. Buddy on a follow-up to keep the offense going, and now maybe the offense is starting to heat up.
Sky's defense right here, yes, it's going to happen eventually. About 4 minutes and 45 seconds into this one. Offense starting to heat up there for Northwood. Is now Rochester looking at their first honest attempt so far. As Luca able to keep this one centered at least decently until Lion Blaze has something to say about it.
Hockey not able to find an angle there. Northwood really just sending everything right now on their shots. Not able to find it yet. Nothing too high quality except for this one. Buddy on a quick turn. Gives out a pass. Hockey a little bit late on the turn. Buddy going for the double. Plenty of time for Luka to clean this one up, and he does. Out to midfield, a 2-on-1 down the field. Pass is right into Hockey's hands, and it's right back into offense for Northwood.
Yeah, so just for a little while, though, Knight coming off the side, flipping, turning, twisting, everything acrobatically right there to try and keep this one up. 6 seconds outside of halftime here, Powder. No scores on the board, but not for lack of trying. I spoke too soon. Not quite at halftime. Buddy puts in the first.
Yeah, these passing plays from Northwood, they're going to need to look out for this. Lion Blaze over Luka in the midfield, Buddy. And, you know, Knight, he's starting to rotate back, but he kind of seems, I mean, not lost, but he's just in the middle of the net, not rotating back post necessarily. Doesn't see the pass coming. Shot right behind him, and Northwood with the first lead, and it will stretch to 2 off the kickoff from Lion Blaze.
3-second goal here, folks. We keep track of the fastest goal, the highest speed the ball is traveling, and after which is made in. We also keep track of the quickest goal. That is 3 seconds. I'm going to challenge you guys to get one faster than that, because I don't know if you can do it off the kickoff.
Yeah, it's almost impossible. You might be able to get a pinch off the kickoff, but, you know, It's 3 seconds. You might be able to tie it. Northwood wants to stretch it to 3 quickly off the kickoff now. Luka, a little caught awkward. He's still able to catch it, get it clear out. However, does he just give away possession to Northwood? He does for a split second. Lion Blaze with a challenge. Ripped shot from the offense. Saved away, and now out at midfield again. It's Northwood taking over. The good aggressive play from Rochester might give him a few more seconds to recover.
So I gotta say, Rochester is taking very wise demos, right? They're not dedicating a lot of time, a lot of boost necessarily into these. They're not repositioning for them and whatnot. And whenever they're opened up, they take them, because why not? You're never gonna be really at a detriment taking out another high-level player, at least when you're on defense, right? Offense might be a different story, because then they're gonna be respawning close, especially when you talk about takeaways. Northwood's on the defensive stance, 100 seconds left in this game.
See Skies up for the read, can't land it. It's a free net for Buddy, but he loses control. A pinch to midfield. Ooh. Good read from Lion Blaze, but the angle is much too tough to work with. Hockey, good job of keeping the offense on, and Northwood is looking as dangerous as ever. Bar down shot is put away by the defense. Lion Blaze on to follow, off the ceiling and down and in, and 3-0 for Northwood.
Bad man, bad man. That is Lion Blaze right there, showing off that top-level player skill. A little double tap action. Some would call it a waterfall. I'm going to call that one more of a guillotine action. Off with their heads if you're Rochester. 3 minutes, 43 seconds so far. No scores on boards. Again, not for lack of trying, but no one wants to get shut out in game number 1. Best of 7 action though, guys. So not going to be too thick into the woods after a game 1 loss if Rochester can't bring this one back. Still plenty to.
Yeah, still some time to get even anything back for Rochester. You know, we've seen this offense pop off quickly. And maybe now this can be it. A solo play, Buddy barely catching up, bouncing off the wall favorably for Rochester, but no one is there in time. Instead, it's another clear down the field. The last man challenges. This one's in. 4-0 Northwood.
It's the second of Lion Blazes. The second one kind of giving up a little bit. This is Rochester pouring it all into offense, right? They're full court pressing, whatever else you want to call. That's obviously the play the last 60 seconds, because if you lose by 1, if you lose by 4, if you lose by 10 here, Powder, it's all the same. It's all the same. At least within the individual games, right?
Right, yeah, might as well send everything. You know, if anything, just to try to test out that Northwood defense, see if they panic a little bit when you start sending that full press like you mentioned. However, Northwood did stand tall, and they still hold him scoreless with about 30 seconds remaining now. They're holding the offense as well, just refusing any ability from Rochester to build up that offense. A clear out from Luka's right into Northwood's hands again, and as we start to approach the final seconds, Rochester might be staring down a shutout here in game 1.
Yeah, it might as well be a 3-0. Again, you know, the fourth is there, just extra style points or what have you. For Rochester kind of more abandons their defense. All they really need to do here, Powder, again, single-digit seconds left on this, no comeback possible. All they really need to do here is play, you know, kind of copy that first half offense-defense that Rochester was doing, right? They were respecting plays, they were giving space, they were rotating quickly, they weren't pouring it all into offense, and just doing that one again would obviously at least keep Northwood's scoreless throughout an entire, 3 seconds outside of a halftime, outside of a half of a game, right? That's not a bad look looking at the squad.
Right, and it was basically half the game that it took for Northwood to finally find a goal. Rochester did play great defense to start off. It also just felt like Northwood was a little bit slow with their start as well, and once they picked it up, you know, Rochester just simply did not have an answer. They tried both things. They tried to just stand tall defensively, couldn't really get it done. They tried to send everything at the end, couldn't get it done there either. They're going to need to find a way to stop this Northwood offense. Otherwise, they're going to keep piling on the shots and the passing plays, which are working to nearly perfection to this point. Rochester, you know, it's only a 1-0, obviously, and we still have the best of 7 ahead of us, so there is plenty of time. But Northwood is not a team you want to fall behind against early. You want to try to get yourselves back into this right away. Otherwise, Northwood's going to keep running away with that momentum.
Exactly, and momentum, especially the mental, is always what we talk about at this point. Again, just a first game right here. The bigger issue, I would say, is the fact that Rochester had plenty of offensive opportunities, especially in the first half. Unfortunately, weren't even able to put up a single score in this one. Being shut out in a game number 1 is the only thing that feels worse than losing a game number 1. Game 2 starting now. 5 minutes. Let's see if Rochester can take this one, tie it back up, turn a best of 7 effectively into a best of 5.
Another issue for Rochester is sometimes they would get the clear, but instead of keeping it close or giving it to a teammate, they were just desperately banging it the other way. They weren't able to set up an offense because of that. I'd like to see them keep it a little bit closer as they go for these clears, and if anything, go for the solo plays that work out so well for them. It might be something that will give them a little more hope heading into this game too, and you know, this offense is hopeful for them as well. A demolition opening things up. Either way though, still into the hands of the Timberwolves. Back onto offense for them.
Luka trying to run this one out. Lion Blaze easy cut over the top. Hockey almost coming in for the slam dunk. Not going to happen quite so easily as Buddy. This shot of their own. Everybody on Northwoods right now kind of feasting on offense. Rochester opting more for a much higher flying acrobatic defense. And was that a Rule 1 disengage?
It was.
That's what I saw between, is that Luka and Lion Blaze?
Skies
and
Lion
Lion
Blaze.
Blaze. They both, at least they both clicked at the same time.
Right, yeah.
At least they both decided at the same time they weren't going to do it.
Yeah, mutual decision there, but either way, it leads to a Northwood goal, and this time an early one. Rochester was able to hold him scoreless for the first half of game 1, and now only 30 or 41 seconds in, they already have 1-0, close opportunity from Skies. Luka will be able to keep the offense on, but it's another one of those bangers that just results in a Northwood clear. Rip of a shot put away by Knight. And a better job from Knight here, keeping it close. He can actually get onto offense this time, but not until Lion Blaze comes upfield, gets the challenge on. A dump in from Luka might be into Northwood once again. Good challenge, will hold it in longer. Either way, though, Rochester needs to find a way to sustain this offense because it's just not lasting long enough.
Yeah, I mean, they have had plenty of time here, but there's a difference between being in the offensive position, that offensive third, and having honest-to-God shots that have a real chance, an actual percentile chance of going in. Higher-level Rocket League here with our top 4 of an 8-star league. Nothing is going to really be like an open net type situation, again, unless we get down to the last few seconds to teams behind who's just playing from behind and abandons that defensive. Nice! A little tip-off right there from Skies. Might not matter, does not. Skies had to burn all the boost earlier to get that first very impressive redirect. Just kind of hit off the backboard and out. Might not have been communicated with their teammate Luka, excuse me, as they just kind of pre-jumped a little too much into that one.
All right, an odd miss there that you don't tend to see very often from Rochester and costs them dearly. You know, down 2-0 now. Still plenty of time in this game. However, with the lack of high-quality shots they're getting, you know, like you said, Tugboat, not spending much time in the deep third on offense might result in more of a struggle for them as Lion Blaze gathers it again behind Knight. Good push up from Skies, and we'll get it over to Luka with space to work with. Pops it into the air, Hockey up. Can't go underneath him, instead cleared to the corner, and Buddy will just regain this, hopefully for them, for more Northwood offense.
A couple of solid defensive clears. The first one's picked up, the second one is not. Luka over here, his demos just keeping coming in, flying. Tell me if you sense a theme here, Powder. Kind of seems like that physical play is definitely evolving more as this matchup goes on.
Right, you've seen a lot of physicality from, you know, Rochester especially. Unfortunately for them, it's not working out the way they want it to. You know, it may free up space for a few seconds, but it's just not resulting in, again, these quality shots that they're looking for. They are doing a good job of holding it in now. Not the clear that they want, but nobody pushing up from Rochester to take a shot. Lion Blaze gives it into Luka, who gets a soft clear. Hockey won't be able to follow this. Instead, it's a clear out from Knight. Buddy forced to retreat. The challenge able to be taken. So good job of Rochester again, but the rotations from Northwood is too much to handle right now, and it's just resulting in piled on offense, and Rochester just not really able to find anything the other way until finally a shot, and Lion Blaze, a diving stop. Still, though, does not matter as now they have to search for it all over again.
Yeah, so a fantastic setup right here. Actually hitting the goalie out, and there's the score. 8 minutes and 18 seconds, excuse me, of a Rochester University opportunity, and there's our first goal. Love to see it. Love to see it. Now we have a game on our hands. 100 seconds left, essentially. Down by 1, Rochester University is. What do, Powder? What do?
And I think, you know, that might actually build up the momentum, too, for Rochester. You know, we see this team pop off quickly, and the other thing I always like to see is when a goal is scored and the player stops moving like that, you know they're celebrating with their teammates, and that is something that purely fires up a team, and especially a team as confident as Rochester. So, you know, I'm excited to see this now that they've finally broken through, they've cracked the net. I'm excited to see if they're able to build that into more offense, and it looks like it is as they power one down the field. Skies now playing it down. Luca chasing down a demo. Can't quite land it. And a quick turn from Knight. A good challenge, too, to keep it in a little bit longer. And Skies bumping Lion Blaze off, giving more space to the Warriors.
Back to the middle right here. In case you're just watching Rocket League for the first time, once we hit triple zeros up top, there'll be a bit of a volleyball type. Never mind. Lion Blaze to the second right here. If this is a one-score game, you'll see these players keeping ball aloft to the last few seconds because it can be scored, just can't touch the ground. Lion Blaze purchases them. The insurance goal, as we say in Rocket League, that is 1 + 1 = 2.
And it wasn't necessarily a bad rotation in from, I believe it was Skies. It seemed like he just jumped at too strong of an angle to be able to catch up to the ball. So, you know, another unfortunate mistake for Rochester on defense, giving away another goal now. It puts them down by 2. Like you said, Tugboat, insurance for Northwood as they might get another 2. Go for it for Rochester. They get the stop over 1 and taken off the field for his efforts. Now it's just desperation as they want to break out, but time is ticking away, and Northwood continues to hold the offense.
Yeah, just demos right now. Northwood's playing the, hey, if they're not on the field, they can't score, they can't touch the ball. If we're just constantly going for the players and not necessarily for ball. 15 seconds or so, we see a score right here. We might see, there's a shadow of a chance, right? Oh, nope, demo came in. We got perspective for like 2 seconds or so, what looked like an open net type situation. Didn't happen ultimately. Water fell down to the bottom. That's a touch ground, and 3-1 goes our game number 2. A 2-score difference from a 4-score difference. Game number 1 is market improvement, Powder.
Right, you know, Rochester made it a lot closer. Unfortunately for them, 2 of those goals were off of what I would think are just slight mechanical mistakes. And they're things that you can't be too upset about. You have to just quickly move on from them, but it can be a little bit weary to, you know, give up those kind of goals. And without those goals, you know, obviously we're looking at 1-1 potentially heading into an overtime. Rochester just gotta slow things down a little bit, clean up those mistakes, and I think they're going to be looking a lot better because once they scored that 1 goal, they certainly seemed a lot more confident and they seemed a lot more faster in their gameplay.
100%, Powder. Only you pointed it out, kind of like the mechanically gifted Northwood squad, like kind of earned 2 of those. The other one was right there that we just saw the replay of. That was Luca and Skies. Skies kind of coming in at this, pre-jumping like super early, just to kind of get that tip up because it was necessary. But the coordination might not have been there so much because Luca, as you see, just comes flying across the bottom. And so, I mean, the second tap, that's Northwoods. That's these high-level Rocket League teams. There's always going to be about the second shot, or third shots, or fourth shots, even sometimes, not necessarily that first one. Yeah, anybody on this, any 6 of these players is going to be able to generally block away the first shot here, and it's always about how a team recovers after that on offense to determine points. Northwoods up 2-0 as we go into game number 3. Northwoods takes this. We will be at match point for Rochester University. Rochester University takes this. They will brought this back and purchase themselves and us a little bit extra Rocket League. I'll be all here for it.
And, you know, Rochester wants it. In CRL, Rochester was swept by Northwood, and, you know, maybe they don't want to be swept again. Skies an early goal, giving Rochester an early lead.
Yeah, so that was 3-0. The other competition, I do believe, Rochester University. Was that Lion Blaze, I think, Buddy, kind of getting tripped up over their own 2 feet, 8 wheels, whatever you want to call it there, Powder, for Northwoods. And early, 14 seconds. The fastest so far, quickest, excuse me, so far is 3 seconds. We'll take away action there from Skies.
A good offensive set from Northwood to start off. Shot, just can't quite find it yet. Ooh, awkward touch from Luca. Luckily, Skies is back there, able to catch up to it. Northwood shot towards the crossbar. Able to be saved away by the crossbar. And now Northwood following up their rotations to keep the offense on again as Hockey now Can't get the challenge in the midfield. Skies can't do much with it without anything left in the tank. Buddy, a dish off to Hockey, and Buddy actually just muscles his way through inside the game.
So Rochester spent 30 seconds or so at the lead. We're going to see a game 3 where Rochester will not put up another 0 score, but Northwoods just kind of closes the pinchers on this one. It's all about pressure. That was like, what, 5th, 6th opportunity or something like that for the Woods on this game, and eventually those are going to go in.
Rochester, we'll see how they respond. You know, they got the early lead, but they gave it away only about 30 seconds later, and Buddy trying to get the lead into the hands of Northwood. Saved away by the back wall, though. Now taking over his Warriors again. Lion Blaze right into Luca's hands. Hockey pushing it back. This one rolling down, a dangerous spot to be in. Skies to the air, trying to slot this one through, put away by Buddy. Knight on a quick turn, steals the boost as well, but no teammate is close enough, and a pinch out gives a little bit of more time over to Northwood.
Nice job there from Luca. Back on up to the middle. Lion Blaze trying to really mess up the plans of the offensive Rochester University squad. A little bit of bump action, a little bit of something. Hockey. I mean, what's hockey without a little bit of physical play, right? There you go. There you go.
And you know, Northwood, they have gone to that physical play a lot more often. We saw Rochester really go for it in game 1. And it didn't seem to do much for them. And then Northwood, started to pick that up heading into game 2. And it seemed to open things up more. It was a closer scoring game, but overall it felt like it gave a lot more control to Northwood on offense when they started picking up those demolitions.
Nice little cutaway. And that was a perfect time to double commit, right? Like, it's one of those things on defense, it's so obvious when it happens, and then there is a negative effect afterwards. Nice little tip play right there. Buddy getting like the front right tire or something like that on there. Demo there from Knight, running it down the right side right now. Try to censors that up and does nothing but put it right into the hands of Hockey. Like, I can respect the fast and loud play, but putting that right in front of a defender, again, I love Rocket League, not frequently going to go in at that point.
Right. Tough play to try to find there as Northwood again. The top bar shot. Now Buddy trying to follow it. Skies will get up in time to make the stop. Northwood, these quick counterattacks. You know, Rochester's doing a good job of shutting them down. However, it feels like eventually Northwood's going to be able to crack it with how quickly they are able to get down the field and, you know, catch Rochester a little bit off guard. A good bump off Lion Blaze will free things up just a little. Doesn't matter as a flank from Hockey behind the defender and in gets that one through and gives Northwood the lead.
There you go. May have taken a little while longer. 2 minutes left in this game, down by 1. Kind of a classic 2-minute drill here right now, Powder. 30 seconds or so left in this game, like we were talking about earlier. You're going to be guaranteed, if the scoreline stays the same, that is, you're going to be guaranteed to see Rochester just kind of drop the gloves right there. Go all in onto offense. Again, a score of 1 against you. A score of 10 doesn't matter. A loss is a loss, especially in a game 3, that if they drop this at this point, it'll be on match point.
Right, and you know, Rochester, you know, they're no stranger to match point. They've reverse swept Boise State yesterday. They had to play on match
literally
point.
Yesterday.
Right, yeah, 4 games in a row being on match point. They still found a way to win. The only thing, however, is that
brutal.
Northwood, as they march down the field and get another goal, Northwood is a little bit better than Boise State, to be completely honest, and I don't know if a reverse sweep can happen against a roster of this caliber.
Yeah, I mean, it is, Rocket League on the day, right? The play on the day is possible for any team to lose. It just looks basically impossible for Northwoods at this point. A perfect redirect across the middle. That's always what kind of like this middle pitch offense is about, right? Putting these balls onto shot so that you force the hand of a defender, and if there's nobody there, if there's nobody who can beat feet to get there in the nick of time, then it doesn't matter. That's still on point. Doesn't matter if it's up close and a meter away or 100 meters away at the mid-pitch action. Knight looking real fine right there. Trying to do everything themselves, can't quite get to it. Score difference of 2 as of right now as we look at the last 60 seconds or so.
Right, this has been such tough going for the Rochester offense. Still only 2 goals in the now nearly 3 games that they've played. Northwood has just piled on the goals. I want to say 10 total now as we start to march down towards the end of game 3. Rochester really is going to be staring down the barrel of a reverse sweep, especially when Lion Blaze makes goal line stops like that one. Hockey trying to clear this one out to fully relieve the pressure. You know, Rochester's offense looking a little bit better here, but finally broken apart by Lion Blaze. Now Rochester has to go back to the drawing board.
30 seconds left or so right here. Big shout out to our sponsors, Mavic, some of that high-level hardware right there, guys. You can check out their website, their Twitters. 20 seconds left right here, centering play. I think Northwoods has kind of like learned the value of just kind of the keep away plays right here, right? Get the sand out the hourglass, get this game done, put Rochester on match point, because Rochester has proved that even, you know, massive teams like this can bleed, and now we have a game on our hands. Okay, Rochester, the continued offense right here, Powder.
Yeah, I like that you pointed out that Northwood was trying to play keep away, because I think it got them a little bit too conservative here late.
Yes.
Now, there is still only 6 seconds. They have to keep this up after the kickoff. They're going to have to do it quickly to get the final goal. Northwood trying to play this one out. It's right back into offense for Rochester, however. So they do have life. Go push behind him. Can he catch up? He cannot. It reaches the ground. And now Rochester is going to need that reverse sweep if they want to take this series.
Full reverse sweep, but again, Powder, I feel like I need to mention it. 4-score difference, game number 1. That was a 4-0, the only game that Rochester has gotten blown out. 3-1 in game number 2, so score difference of 2 right there. And this one comes down to the wire. 3-2 victory right there. A wide open net for Lion Blaze. I believe that was their second on the game right there. Plenty of opportunity, but only second right there. Rochester brings this one back with 6 seconds left. Again, you know, 4 into 2, 2 into 1. Maybe this next one is into 0 and then a little overtime action. Maybe there's a beginning of it. I don't know. Rochester still has one last opportunity here, but like Powder said, it's gonna have to come in a full 4-game reverse sweep if Rochester University wants to sniff those grand finals.
Right, and you know, they got it done yesterday. They clearly have the mental fortitude to be able to do it. Now it's just about if they can do it against a roster like Northwood. Like we mentioned, Boise State, they're a tough roster in their own right, but Northwood is the best collegiate team in the world, and they have a trophy to prove it. It's going to be significantly harder for Rochester to get this done. You know, like you pointed out, they've been bringing it closer every game. So maybe they might be able to squeeze one in this game. Either way, though, I still think that this is going to be favoring Northwood. Maybe not necessarily finishing it off in a sweep, but especially with the 3-0 now, I think it's just going to be too much for Rochester to overcome.
I hear you. I hear you. As we head here into game number 4, and possibly our last, folks, as we know, America runs on Duncan, and the NACE Star League ain't any different. NACE Star League runs on Duncan. 5 seconds into this one. We've already seen 3-second goals, so it's not a bad call here as Northwood's trying to get this one centered up. That's Hockey right there. Doubled up on the right side as Lion Blaze now trying to put this middle big boost as the focus of the other player right here. As we know, Northwoods can still get done with 2, and we'll update graphic in a second, guys. Northwoods is up by 3.
Hockey trying to keep that offense on. He can for a little bit longer. Lion Blaze quick shot. Luca barely catching up to that one as Knight now. We're towards the side. Back to Luca trying to build the offense up for Rochester. However, they can't quite get it done. Hockey with a full tank of boost and Buddy in front, trying to play lineman. Now he dribbles it forward. Lion Blaze on the rotation in, peels off. And now Skies for a clear out. Rochester doing a good job of shutting down that little bit of a scary attack from Northwood. However, it's still back into their hands, and they're still looking for the attack.
Yeah, so this is actually looking a lot like our game number 1, right? Like, this is 2 teams respecting each other, nobody really getting full, like, possession all the way when it comes to offense. That was Northwoods just finishing like a 15-20 second defense or so with some honest shots. I got, if we're talking about series, I got predictions, friend. You guys have heard them already. If we're talking about this game 4, I don't have predictions. This is Rochester doing what they need to.
However, Northwood, you know, doing what they need to do to try to get the sweep, and it might be Lion Blaze on the air dribble, put away by the defense late. Hockey, smart to take this one back into the corner. We'll pick up the 100 boost as well. Good bump from Skies, giving a little bit of space to Knight. Stop still made, and Hockey on the recovery gives it away to Buddy. Forward towards Lion Blaze, cut off by the defense. Hockey will just keep it on again. This is something that Rochester struggled a little bit with, as these clears go right into the hands of Northwood, and it results in a goal this time. Northwood first blood here in game 4.
Yeah, so what? It's happened at 6 seconds. It's happened at 3 seconds. If we're just talking about first goals in games, I think the fastest was 6 seconds. Minute and 49 seconds into this one, Northwoods takes that very familiar offensive position, or excuse me, advantage.
They'll look for it right off the kickoff as well, as he dumps it into the corner looking for Buddy, who can't quite catch up to it. One demolition opens up space, 2-on-1 up the field. Skies can't catch up though, and Luca too far away. Just not enough boost in the tank, and Rochester, they want that one back. It was nearly a freebie if they could land the demo.
Landing demos is something that Northwood does not have issues with earlier. They've again tried to incorporate the play. That's about as hard a hit between Skies and Lion Blaze as I've seen without a demo actually happening one way or the other. But hey, they've already given up one of the rule ones so far. Wouldn't have happened otherwise even if they hadn't. Back through the right side right now. Lion Blaze, a little bit of tipper action as we hit halftime plus.
Rochester still trying to find that offense. They've not been able to get much going here in game 4. And they're going to want to find it quickly because Northwood holding the possession the vast majority of this game. They'll do it a little bit longer. Buddy looking for the back wall. Put away by the defense as Knight takes over a slow play, faking it over to his teammate. Hockey on the rotation, however, still getting the clear out. A desperation attempt here to try to break out of the defensive half. Time starting to tick down now. You know, still time with just shy of 2 minutes left. But again, with Rochester just not being able to find much on the air dribble there, a close opportunity. But, you know, as time starts to tick away, Northwood looking for more, and Rochester still needs one to tie.
100 seconds left right here. Again, plenty of time to get it done here, folks, but Rochester needs this one. Last breath of life coming here soon. Hit to the right side. Knight picks up big boost on their way to this, but can't quite get the defensive clear. Luca foisting this one to the middle. Both players on the side of Northwood's missing. One player back, but not going to matter because Buddy is there always. Hockey after the Buddy pass, and that's going to be the second here for Northwoods.
You know, Hockey, a little bit of an aggressive play to go after this ball, but it works out to perfection. He's now the last man upfield instead of downfield or backfield. He's able to clean that pass up, knock it home for a 2-0 lead for Northwood, and they are really starting to look like they are for sure going to be the ones heading to Villanova University for that grand final event. Maybe a third from Lion Blaze, can't get the challenge. So still giving Rochester life here late, but they have got to get this going quickly.
Right side, 60 seconds left on this one. Buddy stopping it. Now Lion Blaze trying to shoot in, not going to matter. Can't get the third one, at least not yet. 2 is how Northwoods has taken these before. A little shot down bottom. Luca kind of ringing the bells right here, letting them know that they're still there, and they don't always have to put these balls aerially.
Rochester doing anything they can to get the shots. You can feel the desperation start to pick up. Not as much as it was in game 1. You know, it's still down by just 2. You still have time here, but not a lot with only 30 left on the clock. A challenge to hold it in longer, but it's behind every player. You've got to race back now. That's just going to waste more and more time. Now Sky's coming upfield. It's a fake for Luca. He takes over, but no boost in the tank. Trying to get the bump on Hockey. Another bump, and he muscles his way through to bring him within 1 with time on the clock.
I think muscles his way through is the best way to put that one, Powder. I love the call right there. Everybody, it seems, getting a fist in somewhere, and everybody getting hit, bumped, demoed something. 18 seconds left. Rochester University. A new lease on life, it seems. A new dream beheld. Now on offense again. Rochester take another one next 14. They'll tie this one up, push into overtime in a game 4.
And you know, they brought us so close last game. They'll need to go coast to coast, though. Luca, he bangs it downfield. Hockey immediately reading it, dropping it to the ground. Still life. They got to catch up, though, and they do a good job of it. Still need to find the offense. Buddy looking for the ground on this one, and he does. Rochester, hearts broken. The undefeated season is over, and Northwood University is heading to the grand final.
Hey, again, we talked about market improvement, guys. 4-0 game 1. Rochester, unfortunately, plenty of attempted shots, but not a single goal in game 2. Take it to a 3-1 scoreline, so a little bit closer right there, and with goals made in 3-2. Game number 3, it seemed that Rochester had kind of read the book of Northwoods. They knew the author and they liked the language. Kind of was able to come forth and get something going here. Game 4 comes down to about as low scoring a game as possible. 3 total scores, but Northwoods does take it. Even with 18 seconds, Rochester just keeping us on our toes. Unfortunately, can't find a single game within the series, and it is going to be a sweep 4-0 for Northwoods.
And it was a very well-deserved 4-0 sweep from Northwood as well. You know, they played extremely well. They got it done. And, you know, Rochester, it stinks to see them go home. This is a team we've seen the most on the broadcast this season, I'd say. They've had an impressive season, a reverse sweep to get here, but unfortunately it ends today with Northwood taking it in that clean sweep.
Yeah, so Northwood's going to be punching their ticket on into grand finals and guaranteeing some of that scholarship cash. But Rocket League is now done. Let's take a look for the rest of the day. That is COD, little COD action coming in for you guys. You're going to have cash. You're going to have another caster coming on in to gently guide you through that COD action. Love to see it. There's 2 fantastic casters. I am certain beyond certainties. If you guys choose to stick around, and you'll be thoroughly entertained. I've had a fantastic time casting with both of them. Oh, Cash and Seymour, yeah, it would be a national tragedy for you guys to tune away just now. With that, though, Powder, I think we've reached kind of my least favorite part of any broadcast, that is towards the end. Do you have anything else for the good people before we bid them adieu and kicking on over to COD?
I think that's about it. You know, Northwood, it's just, there's a reason why they are that best collegiate team in the world. There's a reason why they are finishing top in nearly every league, and they showed it today. The aggression and the rotations from them were too much for Rochester to handle. And I think Rochester just got a little bit desperate to get onto offense. They banged the ball into their hands way too many times. Northwood took advantage, and they deserved that shot at the grand prize in the grand finals in just a few short weeks.
Yes, very good point. If we had one kind of like negative to say about Northwoods, right? Obviously, they had a fantastic game, but kind of playing that keep away towards the end got this a lot closer than it was. I think they kind of put way too much in that keep away type situation. Because at the end of the day, all you really need to do is hit the ball up in the air where your opponents are not at. Who knows? What am I doing criticizing Northwoods University, right? That's going to be it, guys. Call of Duty action coming in here for just a little bit. For now, FBI, Tugboat, and Powder are going to be gone. Got to give a shout out to the organizations that do make this possible. That is Extra Life, that is Corsair, that is Monster, that is BetterHelp, that is Duncan, and that is Mavix. Also to the people, the folks behind the scenes, the production here, bringing A Star League forth here to you guys. Powder and I are just two crazy guys screaming out of esports in our rooms without our production staff. We very much appreciate you. Stay tuned. COD action coming up here soon for A Star League.
It's that time again. Welcome to the stage. Oh yeah. Where energy and creativity collide. Here we go. Let's level up. Make this something to remember. All right.
It's time for the moment you've all been waiting for here in the Call of Duty Varsity League. It is playoffs day for round of 16. My name is Seymour. Joined with me, as always, is the lovely Cash, as we're going to be looking in at our first looks, Cash, for the Call of Duty Varsity League playoffs. I'm excited. I couldn't be any more ready to see these teams and how prepared they are for the end of Vanguard. How you feeling, though?
I'm feeling really good, just the same as you. I'm excited to see who, there's been a few weeks off, right? Of course, from live gameplay, but that doesn't mean practice has let up in any capacity. So, yeah, I'm excited to see who's kind of been putting work into this. It feels like this mini break that happened, to really gear up for your playoff run. So, I'm excited to see who put in the work.
It's going to be a fun one. I can only imagine what these teams, what's going through their mind. I mean, there's a new game. There's so much to be thinking about. You have to learn not only Modern Warfare 2, but you have to stay fresh in Vanguard at the same time, Cash. And it may be a little bit of splitting your time may lead to some, definite disparity in skills when you go back to Vanguard. But I can imagine, these teams, they've been playing this game for a year. They're ready to wrap it up, and a lot of them are going to be looking for a championship at the end of it. One way to start off your 2022-2023 season, why not start it off with a championship win? But if we're going to be looking into the teams that we do have today, we can talk about, our first match is going to be, sorry, we'll get to that later. Let's talk about our season format for that, because we are at the playoffs. It's been a long road, and getting there was not easy at all. We had to go through the regular season, and you go through the conference championships. You make it to the last chance qualifiers. You realize your back's against the wall, and then you got to get to the playoffs, and all of a sudden you find yourself fighting for a chance to get to a LAN spot, Cash. We're going to Philadelphia for a LAN at the end of the road here. And today's schedule, these two teams kicking us off, these four teams kicking us off, I couldn't be any more excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a good test to see who, again, is ready to go. Like you were saying, you've kind of maybe been splitting your time 50-50, right, between the new title and not, and you're ready to wrap up Vanguard. I think, maybe we see some upsets, right? Maybe a higher-seeded squad takes their foot off the pedal and can get caught, one night, a little lax and upset by a lower seed just because they were taking, their time or taking it easy on Vanguard.
Yeah.
So we'll see what we bring if these top-tier teams stay sharp to make that playoff run. Or if maybe, you can catch a sleeper team sneaking in there and finding themselves a spot.
You never know. If I was thinking, in these match setups, any team that's going to be a sleeper team, I have a feeling that it's going to be in the second match. That first match looks pretty set in stone for myself. But, let's forget about talking about those for now. Let's talk about the scholarship prizing that we are going to have at the end of things. Because if you do make it to the end of the road here in the playoffs, if you make it to that LAN, you have a chance at fighting for $2,000 in scholarship prizing. Second place is going to walk away with $1,000. Third place, you might not make it to LAN, but you are going to get that $500. So, it's just a consolation prize at that point, Cash. And, $2,000 scholarship, you split that between a team of four. That's $500 each going towards your schooling. That's not too shabby.
No, that's not bad at all. I think all of these players on top of the championship, right, that everyone wants, that wouldn't be a bad thing to walk away with either, right? I know everyone's trying to find a way to, take some of that off their school loans, and I think that's, a great prize to be offered for the squad that ends up winning the whole thing.
Yeah, and not only that, bragging rights going into MW2.
Can't
The
beat
last
it.
team to be a champion in Vanguard, who is looking fresh with their new rosters going into Modern Warfare 2. But if we do have it, it looks like we have a chance to take a look at what is up next. Our bracket for a round of 16 is where we're starting. A couple teams have actually already made it through round of 8. I know I saw Full Sail actually got upset by Ontario Tech University, Cash. 3-0, which I was not expecting at all. But you take a look down the bracket. I mean, is there any team that you really have your eyes on for this?
I got to cast in Columbus at a local kind of showcase event a couple weekends ago, and I got to talk to Conwa, who his kind of challenger squad for the MW2 season ended up winning that tournament, but he plays for Baldwin Wallace, right? We remember talking to him, earlier on in the season, and I did get to catch up with him and, humbly remind him that he still has to play Vanguard this season, but it still seemed like he was in a good headspace about Vanguard. He said, it's just getting the rest of the guys on page, and again, them being a first-year program, like we said after that interview night, they've made a fan out of us, so I'm really keeping an eye on Baldwin Wallace. I think they're the 12 seed, I believe, though it's not going to be an easy road. I do expect them to be someone to keep an eye on, because if I see them in that round of 8, round of 4, knocking on the door for grand finals, I wouldn't be too shocked. It's a first year program, you give them some grace here and there, but they definitely have the talent if they can pull it all together to make a deep run.
And I can't wait to see if they can make it happen. A couple of teams that everybody at home should be watching out for is the 4 teams that made it out of the conference playoffs as conference champions. Northwood, Texas A&M International on one side of the bracket, St. Clair and West Virginia on the other side of the bracket. And it's not going to be an easy road for them, but it's 4 teams that you look at to go deep inside of these playoffs. So you look at, even for Baldwin Wallace, like you're saying, at some point soon, they're going to have to play Texas A&M International, and that's not going to be an easy front for them. You look at today, we get a look at West Virginia University in our first match versus Old Dominion. And you look at that from Old Dominion's perspective, Cash, and you don't know if they can take this team down. I mean, they've been there. They've done that. They came out as conference champions. And round of 16, realistically, for them, I'm sure they're thinking it's going to be a walk in the park.
And, to that, the only thing I could counter is Full Sail probably did as well, So, again, it's going to be exciting. It's exciting to already have seen an upset, right? You wouldn't expect someone like Full Sail to already have taken a loss. And so, again, that's something to keep an eye on. But maybe for West Virginia, that is the case. And, as you see on the screen here, just our standard rule set as we've played with all season. We're going to be playing best of 5 tonight. Our map pool, in case you've been playing too much Modern Warfare 2, let us remind you, we'll be working with Berlin, Bocage, Desert Siege, Gavitu, and Tuscan. So now that those names are ringing a bell, we can start to dive more into this specific matchup, like you were saying, with West Virginia, where I do expect it to kind of be a walk for them in a sense, right? You do expect a seed, a 3 seed to be able to take down a 14 seed fairly comfortably, but I mean, looking at these rosters, we've got Eaton, Cyro, Bruford, Panic for the side of West Virginia, and then for Old Dominion, Static, Love, Midnight, and Noodles. Again, for West Virginia, should be a fairly cut and dry series, barring any kind of surprises that Old Dominion have been putting in, in the time prepping for this.
Oh, you've seen Cyro and Bruford last year in this league, and they were outstanding players through Vanguard. I can only imagine that looking to end on a high note here. Old Dominion, I'm not too confident in this team. I mean, both of us, we predicted that West Virginia were going to win this. And it's not just by the fact that West Virginia is 7-0 and Old Dominion is 4-3. Both of these teams, they've played in separate divisions going into the playoffs. So they've never had a chance to go head-to-head. We don't really have, definitive stats in the head-to-head for both of these teams, Cash. When I'm looking at this and I dug deep into Old Dominion, I tried to find something that I could relate to West Virginia University. And in that, I found their matchup versus St. Clair College. That one of the other conference championships going into the playoffs. It was a 3-0 sweep for the Saints. And if you're kind of matching up the number 2 seed from St. Clair and the number 3 seed from West Virginia, I mean, they're not going to be too different in teams. So when you look at Old Dominion, this is where you have to take your team. You look at the matchup that you have in round number 1. You really need to level up going into the series.
Yeah, and having 3 weeks off should be the furthest thing from an excuse. You should once you know that matchup, right, start doing VOD, figuring out what their tendencies are around the map, different play styles, what do they do in certain S&D situations. If you're really serious about making a run in the tournament, going up against a team like West Virginia, who, like you said, have lost to a team at similar skill levels to them, you should, you have all the stuff available to do that research to get yourself as best prepared as you can. I fully expect them to give it a good shot. I mean, to be fair, and I guess just to give a little, vouch for the side of Old Dominion, West Virginia dropped their first map in their conference championship of the season to Utica University. So they only recently, have dropped their first map, but it is something where, again, a little momentum can go a long way. And you look at the maps that we have here: Berlin, Tuscan, double Gavitu for 3 and 4, and then Berlin to finish it out. If we get there, you look at these maps, and the first thing I think is, okay, you're really going to bat with your ARs here.
Yeah, you are. I mean, you have the Berlins, you have the Gavs. You're thinking that your main AR, your flex AR, is going to have a lot of work to do today in this series. And I think that's going to favor West Virginia for the fact that when you have that play style where you can trust your ARs, you want to have a confident team. And I think that West Virginia is going to be that confident team when you know, in Vanguard, I guess, throughout the year, one thing that we were noticing is the difference in skills really lies in that flex player. And the fact that we're going to be seeing 2 Gavitus means that we are really seeing that the Battle of the Flexes here are going to be the main talking point of this series. And for West Virginia, you found success already. You're 7-0 in the league going into the playoffs. You won your conference. I can imagine that they have the utmost trust in those flex players.
You absolutely do. This is the head of your season, right? Where everything should be coming to a culmination of, again, good execution, good timings, especially being a top team like that. You would have the most trust in your X Factor player being the flex, especially on maps like this. So, I mean, that key to success for West Virginia then going into that point would be staying one step ahead and not being lazy in their game plan, right? Don't let off the gas. Don't think it's put away until it's over. You never know. Again, playoffs are always a magical time, right? Where you see the crazy things happen through esports, traditional sports. It doesn't matter. If you really don't want to, be on the wrong end of one of those fairy tales, you definitely need to make sure you don't get lazy in your strat execution.
Cash, I have been casting collegiate Call of Duty since Modern Warfare. And now we're heading into Modern Warfare 2 season, and I have seen some pretty incredible things happen inside of playoffs. So I will never write off a team that's coming into us looking to upset Old Dominion. Can they be that dark horse that you're hoping for if you are the Old Dominion University fans? I want to give a big shout out to BetterHelp for the sponsor of this broadcast. Couldn't be here without them for the NA Star League. Berlin, Hardpoint. Thought we were about to get into it, but it looks like we got a little bit more time before we see this. Oh, this takes me back. I mean, what's Vanguard without losing the lobby?
I know Vanguard's glad to see us back on. I had to give us a little treat to kick things off. It only feels right at this point, but yeah, we definitely are about to dive into that Berlin. And just, again, maybe if it's been a while since you've watched some Vanguard, just to give you a refresher on some of the main either power positions or just kind of strategic points to Berlin. It's really going to be locking down the money hills where you can. If you've been watching much MW2, you know that, well, a lot of those hills plays money hills. Here, you really feel like you have to earn some of those money hills. A lot of hills on Berlin have so many access points that you can get broken into. So I'm looking at who can get control P3, right? That B street with your main AR locking down spawns, your subs playing messy around plat and then fire, and then your flex, being able to fill in whatever little gap you're needed. So of course the flex being that X Factor player for both of these rosters tonight. I'm excited to see what they do in those money hold situations where we have everything locked down. Now what's your X Factor going to do to put the game away even further if they can?
And your flex player, your route runner, whatever you want to call him inside of Berlin, you really need to look at it, the fact that Berlin, if you're not rotating, you're not winning the game. And not only in the sense of rotating to the hill, Cash, when you look at it, you have to think of it as an aspect of if you're holding the hill, you need to make sure that you're stopping the rotations of the other team. And that's what your flex player is going to be doing, just working around the map in a very dynamic fashion, making sure that you take every single angle that you can and cut the rotations off from your opposing team. Berlin, it can steamroll at times. It can get ugly at times. And realistically, it's going to be that player that really makes that disparity in the scoreline. I think one thing that we always mention is the fact that I'm surprised that P5 isn't P1 and P1 isn't P5 because of the way that it starts off. And I wonder what kind of a year we'd have if those two hills were swapped out. But it does make it so that if you are watching and rotating and cutting off the rotations from the other team, that second P1 spot, Cash, can really be a difference maker in a game. I mean, it can really make or break series at times.
That chain can be wicked because you see teams, again, with how scrappy P5 plays, like you were saying, it seems like teams get the time they can, but are mostly focused on working through spawns and through ticket. So like you said, once you get to that first P5 to second P1 or third P5, or I'm sorry, second P5 to third P1, that's where you see so many games come down to the wire finishes. I also look at that P2 to P3 rotation on the top side of the map as well. It'll be interesting to see how teams play around that, but for now, kicking things off, Old Dominion, favorite side, gonna be screwing up the time early on here. They chopped down the first wave of West Virginia players and are gonna be looking for more.
Static lines up 2 around the outside. Bruford and Swiro get the break. Better spawn, so Old Dominion not going to waste time to get back into this hill. You see only 10 points going to be collected from Old Dominion. West Virginia looking to battle out and zone them away. And now with the setup on the inside of P1, you really see they're going to be in a great spot to make that happen. Love looking to rotate out. Hopefully trying to find a way back over to the mailroom. You can see on the minimap, Old Dominion putting a lot of emphasis over to P2 already.
Midnight won a huge gunfight over at Tank just to secure, again, that top side of the map, gives them a safety net to work through and maybe shoot players off spawn. Player 3 and Ethan going to be winning a gunfight there at P5, but again, it's Midnight still finding another kill to get them access to this hill, really single-handedly winning them this rotation. Now, trying to get a few more points off, it's going to be great, but West Virginia, because of those close spawns, like we're saying for P1, they're going to be here for the break.
You'll love to see that. You need your Slayers activated in the playoffs, and here we go for Old Dominion. All into zone for now. Bruford on screen, trying to hunt down these players, but it's Midnight again. Gets in behind. It's a two-piece run through. Old Dominion looking to get control of this hill, though trouble is going to be afoot because Ethan just picking you off from behind. You see back into the hill. Now West Virginia looking to take control, although Love has a different idea. He's going to shut down those players. Ethan, at least on the inside. A couple trades go back and forth. Still chaotic inside this P2. Nobody collecting significant time, though Old Dominion still holding their lead catch.
For Old Dominion, that's a win, though you're not getting a lot of time. You're keeping the scoreline close, and the key to success I had for them, it was keep the tempo comfortable, but have a game plan to adapt to West Virginia. West Virginia is a very quick team, even on an AR-heavy map like this, and the fact that they're going toe-to-toe with it just shows that, okay, they've come in with a game plan, they've come in ready to go. If you're the underdog team and Respawn, it's trying to survive those first couple of hills. Well, you've done that. It's only a 10-point game here at P3, and you're on the prowess for a big break.
Well, this player in particular, I wanted to see heat up a little bit going into this third hill. Your AR Noodles, 0-6, now 2-6 is going to get the break with the help of Static. So Old Dominion flipped things out, although not going to be the spawns that are flipped out. That is just the stickiness of this P3 hill. West Virginia University going to have a chance to battle back in here. Love on screen, looking to lock it down, although only going to be good for one by the time you drop down. It's Noodles to hold strong for WVU, or for Old Dominion at least, going to hold the rest of this scrap time for 20 seconds. West Virginia, they're already looking for that train yard control.
And that's a tricky thing, right? You give up 20 seconds of scrap time for a P4 that plays very messy. Well, the next two hills will play very messy, so West Virginia better have a game plan to lock down at least the first 20 if they want to make it seem like it canceled out, giving up that much scrap time. They look ready and in position. They already cut down Midnight trying to get an early rotation, so they've got a good spread, but this push is all pushing through P5 and tickets. We'll see if they're ready.
It is Ethan. I mean, this is what I wanted to see, a player cutting off the rotations. Good for 2. Noodles still trying to tango, but Ethan not going to budge whatsoever. That's 3 kills in a row for Ethan, holding the door for now. You see one does slip the line. Midnight's going to pick the head off of Cyro as well. Just holding West Virginia at arm's length for the inside of this. They get back in. They hold this time. Still 30 seconds to accumulate here inside P4. Cyro, nice shots at distance. Gonna line up 2. Bruford gets the other. That's a full 4 down for Old Dominion. You're looking at almost 50 points here in the hill.
Said they needed to get the first 20 to cancel out giving up that much scrap time, but they were very confident in their P4 play, and I think that's because Old Dominion, they played it so one-dimensional. They just tried to push from the front, no routes to the back to push out spawns. You got a little glimpse of getting someone off time, but again, it didn't amount to any big play behind it. There, you just let their ARs hold pre-aims, walk right into them, and well, that's an easy 45, 50 seconds that they got here. So now for Old Dominion, starting to battle off that back foot, down 20 or 30 points.
Yes, you are. Might be panic here, looking for the break. Lines up 2. Love and Static at the end of that barrel. United is going to keep things interesting, keeping Old Dominion afoot. Can you hold this hill for now? You can see the respawners for WVU looking to set things up. Love has eyes on one. The rest of them just waiting for the overextension. Coming from player number 2, Cyro, looking to get around the map, though. Ethan drops to the inside. Love's not going to find another one. Panic gets the better of that gunfight. Now Cyro's turn to try to break things in, though. It's going to be Bruford to strike. Back in the hill is going to be Old Dominion. Now they're looking for a lead change off this P5. Cyro lines up 2, gets back into the hill with the rotations for now. Old Dominion, they had to hold off these last couple of players. Cyro looking to get this kill onto Noodles. Stretches the gunfight. There it is. 3 down. Only 1 on the inside. It's going to be Static. But Static goes down to Panic. And you get a perfect rotation for West Virginia, Cash.
They did that to the front. I would have loved to have seen Old Dominion disengage a little bit sooner. At 17 seconds, I still saw players pushing, across that mid-map for P5. And again, that allowed West Virginia to have a big counter-attack on the transition, which they do beautifully from the front. Now you have spawn for Old Dominion technically, but with how zoned out West Virginia's playing, you're just getting chopped down out of fire just like that. Ethan, now on a 2 streak, just wreaking havoc in your spawn. You don't have any ways or routes to get out because they just have one person soaking time. The other 3 players have you caught in a net, in a cage, and really with nothing to do. The biggest disparity we've seen thus far. And again, that's props to West Virginia really starting to step ahead.
And Ethan's being so annoying here on 3 in a row, looking for number 4, playing on their way to the glide bomb, the rotation over to P2. I talked about how dangerous it could be if you gave away this first hill cache. Now you really see that West Virginia, this is the turning point for their lead. Ethan's going to grab that scrap time, looking for the cutoff, though. Static heads-up awareness to cut that player off before they really get into the mix. Cyro on the inside of the hill, good for the first kill. Noodles drop down. Looking out front, though, in the contention. It's going to be Love to get the better of that gunfight. On the inside, still a tango, though. Panic's going to get the double kill to hold off these Old Dominion players. And it's Ethan's turn to hop into the hill. Going to take down Static Bruford, looking to collect this time. And again, Old Dominion fighting from a distance.
The map spread that West Virginia is playing with, they've only had 1 player sitting in the hill, but they have someone spread all the way down to A long, 2 players ahead pushing towards P3. It's not even letting Old Dominion get close. Whenever West Virginia's been able to get set up, they have found the most success, and I know that sounds simple, right? If you get the look you want, you're bound to find success, but Old Dominion haven't even found kills enough to get a break. It's been a blue kill feed for a while, and now they make this transition over to P3. I mean, this game feels done and dusted at this point.
It really, really does. I mean, I highlighted that Old Dominion, if there's one way to take this down, you really needed your Slayers to be activated for Berlin. And they were at first, but now they're starting to slow things down. Look to the break into P3. They're working their way through a courtyard, though Ethan and Panic have a little bit of crossfire. It's going to be a clean 4 kill feed, all blue in the kill feed again for West Virginia University, as they're just looking to put things even closer to an end game here in our first map of the series. They have enough time to put this away, Cash, so if you're Old Dominion, you have to battle back into this one. Noodle, at some point you're going to have to touch, though nobody can even step foot into this. Nobody can even get close to stepping foot into this hill. Noodles is going to go down from courtyard. Love's going to drop down to at least find Spyro, but it's going to be enough to hop into this hill. It looks like Midnight is going to extend this to yet another hard point, but look at that. West Virginia, they get the better spawns. They're going to have to line up. Berlin, it's looking all over here.
That spawn just made me hurt. That just hurt my head. But I mean, you take care of business if you're Static, but the fact that that split spawn came in at that time, again, is basically going to gift West Virginia the win here. Not that they weren't going to put it away anyway, but get them that much closer to closing it out faster. P4 was really the kickoff of this landslide dominance that they started showing, right? It was at P3, it was like 75, 80 something there. You only get 40 or so more points if you're ODU for the remainder of the game. So I think the P4, that first go around, is really what kind of set them off. They opted to give up that scrap time. We questioned with how close the game was if that was a good move, and yeah, that's where things really got rolling for them. Once they got to their setups and got their ARs in power positions to lock down long lines of sight, they looked like they were just comfortable. So props to ODU for hanging in that early bit. At least it shows, right, that they've come to play, but West Virginia just hit new levels there in that second set of rotations.
You know, I was a little bit surprised off the kickoff that how slow they were to get going, because when we talk about this in, the breakdown, I guess, of the series, I mean, this is the number 3 seed going against the number 14 seed. I'm looking at games like this for West Virginia to really solidify themselves as that number 3 seed going into the playoffs. You want to make sure that your round of 16 is clear cut and concise if you are this team. And I think we got a little bit of a glimpse of that for West Virginia University, because after that second set of rotations, they get the money heal in P1. They have the rotations on lock, and they're just getting all, the better time inside of these hills. That last hill 3 was so heartbreaking for Old Dominion University because you have to break it. You lose the game
Yeah.
if you don't break it. But with how far away that P4 rotation is, because you go for that break into P3, you force out the respawns back over to that P4, and that's what we saw. And I guess that's the nail in the coffin for that first game. And that's going to bring us into our Tuscan Search and Destroy for map number 2, where now Old Dominion, they have to take a Search and Destroy off this team.
They absolutely do, and a Search and Destroy at least is kind of, again, you talk for the underdog team, the easier mode to take is round by round. You can kind of reset after each round and get back on the same page if need be. So this is where you can see teams that maybe can't hang and respawn find a way to keep themselves alive in series. Usually for these teams, you're saying you got to win one respawn off the better team and take both searches if you want to walk out with the series. So we'll see what they bring here in Search and Destroy. Like I said, it's going to Tuscan, about the most straight up and down Search and Destroy you could play. So really it's just going to expose who has more fundamentally sound Search and Destroy at the end of the day. With Tuscan, the one thing that I disliked about watching Tuscan all year, it seems like teams started moving away from objective play there at the end, unless it was a 2v2 or 1v1 situation. It seems like it's been a while since off the break you see, a quick A plan or something like that, get that top lane control. And I get that the play styles and strats can switch and teams can go for different things, but I think for Old Dominion, part of that fundamental S&D gameplay comes with playing around the objective. Use it as a fifth man on the team, right? Get that clock working in your favor offensively, get bombed down and play around that defensively, and use that to your advantage the best you can, because I think that could help secure them some rounds for sure.
Yeah, I think right now your biggest ally, if you're going to be Old Dominion, is Fear. Fear is going to be the biggest ally in a map like Tuscan because, like you say, you get that bomb down, all of a sudden in future rounds, you have that thought in your head if you're West Virginia University that they could go for the quick plant again. So automatically it's just adding steps to the docket for West Virginia. And I like that call because it's not going to be easy to take down this West Virginia team. We saw that the slaying was very heavily in favor of WVU in that Berlin, and it gets a little bit overwhelming. It gets a little bit, there's a lot of pressure on your shoulders throughout that hard point, and in Search and Destroy, you can alleviate some of that pressure. So for a first blood, for sure. I think Noodles in particular is a player that I really want to see turn around in the Search and Destroy. Try to slow down your playstyle, fish for a first blood, maybe even if it's off information, off of a stun, maybe if it's off of holding down a lane, watching for the flank through P5, through Control Center. It just anything to get your foot off right in the Search and Destroy. Noodles was 0-6 going into 3 hills of that hard point. Did turn it around, but then started to fall behind yet again towards that end game. And if there's anybody that can really change the factor, it's going to be this player bringing confidence back into the team.
Definitely. Midnight and Static you saw getting around as the subs, finding their way to get kills and entry kills. But again, players like Noodles and Love on the back end of that, getting confident, like you had said, finding those power positions and winning some of those good gunfights off the rip could definitely be something that gets this team rolling early in the Search and Destroy. And for Midnight, to keep finding big plays, I expect to see Midnight a couple times find a couple 2 pieces here and there to make big plays to help get them round advantages. And for West Virginia, I mean, it's business as usual, right? Whenever they go toe-to-toe slaying, if they try to chow you 4 up, 4 down as far as slaying goes, you should be able to run them, every day of the week, essentially.
Yeah, off the bat, we're getting Old Dominion on the attack, West Virginia on the defense. All 4 players of ODU very stuck together. And look at this. We're getting a flank already. Ethan in the backline on the flank. They have no idea, no information that the player's going to be back here. Although Static head on a swivel, turns around and still first blood for Old Dominion. Exactly how you wanted to start off this search.
A great read, and that should be something as a team you are compartmentalizing, saying, okay, now we need to watch for Ethan running flanks. That's something that they should not let happen at any point in this game. Again, players are going to make plays and that's what they're going to do, but I think behind that you should definitely be watching for that every go around here. They find a couple more kills behind it. Now a 2v2. Bomb's still not down yet, but still a good spread for West Virginia defensively. For Old Dominion, you're trying to get more information, but what play do you make that'll get you an opening at this bomb?
It's definitely going to have to be a gunfight. At some point, you're going to have to either take down one or the other. Love's going to stretch this. Not sure if Cyro actually sees this one. Looks like it's just out of the line of sight. Suddenly, Cyro is going to give himself away. Both players from West Virginia looking to play the retake. The clock now in favor of Old Dominion. And he's going to open things up, but it's going to be a pick from Static. Now, all of a sudden, you have to take this fight. If you're going to be Love, though, you set up on the pillar, and it's not going to go your way. Cyro hits the flank through you. And that's a pretty easy retake. Very simple from Old Dominion.
Good on them to get that retake in a 2v2 situation, just to show that they were keeping that composure. They knew the play they wanted to execute the entire time. And for Old Dominion, it was a good play around the bomb, just couldn't get any post-plant setup, without any information, right? It's so hard to figure out where you want to get set up at without knowing where both players are. So they're going to fall in that round. West Virginia go up early here behind Panic and Cyro, picking up where they left off after that Berlin.
And you know what? Midnight makes such a huge play getting that pick towards Bunks. You need to stay alive there if you're Midnight. Yeah. I know Cyro, you don't expect him to be well, but you need to stay alive because you opened up the map so big. And it looks like West Virginia, no respect's going to be shown. They just want to get aggressive right up into the face of Midnight. Panic's going to get the first blood. Suddenly, Old Dominion have to force their rotations around, and it's a little bit unknown, too. They have no information on these players. The battle in the back is going to be 6 versus 4. Noodles looking to stand tall on this tank, but has no idea. Shot's going to be there. Cyro backs off. Plant goes through. Broford brings it to a 4v2. Love's at least going to find a pick onto Broford, bringing this into a 1-kill deficit. Not going to be easy to break back in for 2 assault rifle players. Inside of this B zone, they need to get control of this high ground, and Noodles, you're looking at him to be that player. Didn't have a great hard point, but this is where you can turn things around. The nade's going to give away his positioning. 19 HP. Has to drop to the floor. Spots out Static, slides around, gets the read on Cyro. The gunfight does not go their way. Now it's Love in a 1v3. There's just no time to get it happen. At least a confidence kill against Panic Cash, but that's number 2 to West Virginia.
Great from them just to play around their post-plant setup. Like you had said, they needed to overtake Plat to get information, to get an idea, but they all just didn't give up kills. They didn't try to overextend and go kill hunting. That's a sound fundamental team. Like we said coming in this, who's going to play more fundamentals S&D? So far, it's been West Virginia. A great post-plant setup there at B. They stayed on their half of the court, if I must say, their half of the bomb. Not giving away too much, forced Old Dominion to go hunting, and just not enough time to work with. This is what we said Old Dominion has to play like if they want to take this search and destroy, but West Virginia trying to put this one away early, already up 2 rounds.
Oh yes, they are, and they're striking fear right into the eyes of Old Dominion. Love not dissuade whatsoever. Takes the gunfight versus Cyro. Beautiful first blood. And it does look like they're still trying to work their way over to B. Ethan is in quite the cheeky corner. Are you going to be ready for the switches sides right behind the door? They're going to check this one deep. They are going to be there, but it's not going to matter. Ethan good for 2, looking for number 3. Noodles at least is going to find Panic. Love makes it a 1v1. Bruford versus Noodles. Bomb is down. Bruford's going to get Bruford's going to get aggressive, but I have no idea what's happening right now. It looks like we're losing the lobby, Cash.
I was wondering, I was like, that's just so... Noodles just didn't panic at all. He just crouch walked away from the gunfight. You don't see that in Vanguard. I was just completely taken aback at how just collected Noodles was disengaging. So I was like, that's smooth. A little too smooth. Vanguard gonna strike once again. We'll see what the final call ends up being given. That was a 1v1, probably just a 2-0 and then a replay of the round. But hey, if you're Old Dominion, maybe a little reset here will do you well.
Oh, okay. We're getting plant now. Still alive in this. Noodles 1v1. Eyes onto Bruford. A little bit of ring around the rosy. Now Bruford's going to go for the play of the bomb. You know what? I tip him for that effort, but there's just no world that Noodles lets that happen.
Good confidence round. Keeps you within striking distance of tying it up. You get a good 1v1 win after the round had a little hiccup. Again, a good one for Old Dominion. It's kind of like that opening that we had in the hard point. I know Old Dominion can hang. Do they have enough to overtake and get a lead? So we'll find out here. But a good confidence round. And you said Noodles was the one that had to kind of get going. Though sitting at 2-2, you win a good 1v1 like that. It doesn't really matter what your scoreline looks like.
You're feeling good after that win if you're Noodles. And look at this. Already confidence surging through his veins. Panic from downtown. Noodles hits the first blood. Immediate answer back from Swiro, and you actually have a lot of control on the map with Ethan working through Church. Pulls a kill onto Love, but look at the back and forth gunfights. You've kind of flipped things out here. If you're Old Dominion, Noodles gets yet another kill, and he's going to find himself in a 1v1 again, Cash.
So much of that round that I want to talk about, but for now, focusing on this 1v1, Noodles on the chase, I think has an idea that probably worked over here. Going to give A look and then maybe have an idea now, knowing that player's playing catwalk. The gig is up. You gotta go. You gotta figure out what the timing is here. But I think right now for Cyro, tempo's in your favor. But
Noodles. Oh, you gotta get your gun ready when you're turning corners. You know, look both ways before you cross the road, kind of deal. And I was surprised Noodles was taking that so nonchalantly around the corner because Cyro did give away his positioning top church.
ended up getting caught out there just trying to sprint and reposition. Would have loved to have seen him been ready for that one. But what I was going to say, at least breaking down that last round, Ethan and Panic are playing so quick. If you watch the top and bottom lanes of the map, they're seldom playing together. Look at the split that they take. Top and bottom of the map, if it's not Ethan pushing through on a flank, Panic got through last time from the AS&D side when they were all pushing P5. So keep an eye on those two players and what they look to do here after either the first blood rings out or if it's a stagnant play and they find an opening.
Yeah, Ethan actually going to be wearing the leash this round. Is Cyro getting aggressive through A, and Bomb is going to be down for Old Dominion off the first couple of trades, but Static now finding his way into the back line of Church. Bruford watching it like a hawk is not going to allow him to go any farther than that, but you talk about somebody who's just been all over the place. It's been midnight. I mean, finding kills in places that you just should not be finding kills, and this time around staying alive. The only thing is, are you going to read Panic around the corner? It doesn't look like it. You are going to spot this out, though. It's Automaton versus MP40, and I'm going to take the auto all day, every day in that situation. It's going to put Noodles again in a 1vx situation. This time, 1v2. Bomb in hand cash, but not looking good right now for this player. Really says a lot, the fact that he's been alone so many times. Going to get aggressive into the back line and immediately takes the fight onto one of the hardest angles you can take. That's 4 rounds for West Virginia.
You had talked about Midnight being everywhere and all over the map, but I'd like to see Midnight slow down maybe just a hair, just enough to either get a first blood and get out of life, or at least if you get traded, get that information to your team. If Midnight can get some better timing around this mid-map and around this aggressive first play, I think that can turn things around for Old Dominion. And again, stop. If you end up getting the first blood and getting traded out, you at least won your one and are doing less to leave Noodles in a 1v odd situation. So we'll see what Midnight opts to do this round here, playing that B site, slowing down a bit here, but now starting to get aggressive through P5. We'll see what this break off ends up being.
I'm going down at A. Immediately, West Virginia going to put themselves in a great spot, though. Noodles, brilliant shots there onto Ethan. Midnight goes down, so no flank potential. Out of Old Dominion this time around, it's going to have to be good old backyard brawl. Static's going to hit the route, though. Gets in behind Cyro. Trade out from Panic. 2 versus 2. Bruford's going to be up top. You just have to wait. Panic take down low. Another kill out of Static's going to leave Bruford last alive. 18 seconds left. You're going to have eyes on this post plan as well. Love can hit the defuse right away, but Bruford is playing this so well. You just need to bide your time. Check that bomb, and he just won the round.
I don't think he got it. Oh my gosh, the timing for Static. I don't think he got it. Man. Just the timing. It's just the timing of it all. You hop up top fire. I don't know if that was the best play you could have made for ODU. Would have loved to see him. If he's going to hop it like that, I don't think you can turn your back on your teammate. It's as simple as that. If they're going to hop a bomb, you have to be able to have eyes on them or eyes on a lane for someone to push. So just miscommunication or bad timing either way for ODU. And now we're sitting at match point here to go up 2-0.
I'm seeing great individual kills all across the board from Old Dominion University. They're just not piecing it together as a team.
Cohesive. Yeah.
It's all separate gunfights, separate minds, separate plays, and they need to start piecing things together, or else West Virginia are just going to continue trading through them. It's not going to change this time. So Ethan, Cyro, 3 down immediately. Noodles trapped in a corner. No way out. He's going to have to dig his way out with this automaton. First kill is going to be locked in. That's step number 1 down. Recovers the bomb. Step number 2. Player on the flank. It's going to be Ethan yet again as Noodles going to be ready for it. He turns around. There's the gunfight. Noodles. 1 versus 1. Bruford. Noodles. Both players dancing around A. Little bit of ring around the rosy. And I think Noodles has left him in the dust. Bruford has no information cache.
Bruford's going to wait and play the 50-50 gamble unless he wraps up to be last second. But we'll see what Noodles opts to do. Trying to work through and clear everything, doesn't want to get caught out again, but you said Noodles had to come to play in this S&D, and well, you got that, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
No one else did here, at least up to the standard, and I think Bruford's completely going to give up. this 50-50 here, but Noodles needs to make a play on the bomb quickly, otherwise Bruford could make this wrap.
Just not confident enough to get this bomb down. 17 seconds left. Be the only thing you could go for now, and I think Bruford, he's aware of this. He's on the hunt. He's going to get here in time. Noodles with the bomb in hand. That's going to be game over in West Virginia University. 2-0 in the series. Commanding hardpoint, followed by a dominating Search and Destroy.
And you couldn't get the confidence to put that down, and it cost you there. I mean, again, I know, being a player, you have so much to clear out, right, to feel confident. But once you get to that less than 20-second mark, I mean, Bruford just knew, okay, it's 20 seconds, and I haven't seen anything or heard anything around A. I'm going to opt that he went B. So, again, just a great read from Bruford to close that one out. They closed it out in a 6-1 fashion to go up 2-0. I mean, it feels like the same song and dance we've sung so many times before, right? Gotta kick it off in the control. It's gotta be, worlds different than what we've seen so far this series. Like you said, individual plays have been there for Old Dominion. It has to come together, though, because West Virginia is playing so cohesive and on the same page. It's 4 individuals moving as one, not one team moving as 4 individuals in the case of ODUs. So we'll see if they can turn things around here, but the way West Virginia's rolling, I don't anticipate it.
And I mean, we talk about, the fact that they're not cohesive. There were about 4 rounds where Noodles found himself in 1vx scenarios.
Yep.
And he won 1 out of those 4 rounds. So, 1 and 3 is not going to be a great scoreline when you're in a Search and Destroy. And I was talking about how Midnight was always all over the place making those flank plays. And I like that. Actually, Midnight was finding ways to avoid Ethan, get in behind, and pick off an AR player without being seen. The only thing is, by the time Midnight made that play, you saw that somebody else on Old Dominion falls. Yeah. And it brings you back to square one when you make that happen. So that cohesion, it goes a long way when you're trusting for a player to make that play, waiting for them to do it. And valuing your life is so important, Cash, in games like this. It's information alone, being alive, just knowing that you own this spot of the map. And Old Dominion were giving up that information too many times too early, and I think that just goes to show that I think that West Virginia are just a cut above Old Dominion right now in the way that they're playing together.
Yeah, they want to show that they're the 3 seeds for a reason, and they want to be kind of in that round of 4 situation whenever we get there, being that 3 seeds. So, again, a cut above, I think, is the best way to put it for Old Dominion. I even think back to that defuse where Bruford was in the 1v2, and you had a player hopping fire while your teammate was defusing. It's that kind of thing where, again, waiting on that play to develop, knowing the timing you have to hit, knowing what priority number 1 is on the map. If Midnight's the one making the flank, and that's going to be the play call and what you're doing behind it, don't get caught out or caught in another position where you end up giving up your life. So control plays no different, right? A bit faster, of course. It's a respawn. Still have to value your life here. And again, the way the ARs were playing, even for ODU, I mean, Noodles is warm and good to go. It's going to be a battle of, really, for me, Ethan versus Midnight. Who's going to be the ratty sub that gets around, pops a 2-piece in the back, and can open up a round for your team? So as much as we switch gears back and forth from flex to AR player getting warmed to now sub on maybe the most AR heavy map, I really do think the subs could be the X factor here, and at least getting Old Dominion back in it.
Well, here we go. Map number 3, West Virginia University looking to close things out in a 3-0 sweep for our first match of the night here in the Call of Duty Varsity League. Up against them, Old Dominion. I mean, this is your spot where you need to put your foot down, turn it around, and have that chance to upset West Virginia even a little bit. You take a map off this, it shows their weakness, it shows the exploits that other teams can take away, and it even proves for Old Dominion University that they have the the means to go toe-to-toe with a team like West Virginia. This is it right now, Cash. I mean, this is playoffs. This is where you really need to dig deep if you're a team in this position. And I think you hit the nail on the head. I'm looking at the subs. I'm looking at the Midnight versus Ethan show.
Just to see who can get things rolling for the team for West Virginia. You really have no doubt that things are rolling, but as far as the answer back goes, definitely going to be the case. And hey, if you want to be the Cinderella story here in the playoffs, you got to give people a reason to believe. And what better way to believe than in a reverse sweep against a school like West Virginia here, kicking things off on the Gavitu, which will, if they end up taking this one, be a double Gavitu to a Berlin to finish out the series. So we'll see if they have the magic in them or if things end here for the side of Old Dominion. And for West Virginia, like you said, it has to be clean this early on in the tournament. If you want to show that you have a chance to hang once we get into this deep playoff, you have to show early on that you can clean close out against teams that you're supposed to. So, I mean, for West Virginia, you're simply doing your job right now.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about the, a little bit of a similarity between Old Dominion going up against West Virginia as Old Dominion going up against St. Clair College. When they met up against St. Clair on a control map, it was a 3-0 sweep clean, a 6-0 in the search and destroy, 250 to 127 in hard points. So you see the similarities, Cash, when you're looking at those series. Yeah, I'm not saying that, West Virginia right now are on the same level of that St. Clair Saints COD team, because they are probably one of my favorites in this playoff tournament alongside Northwood. But you have to look at this as the West Virginia. If they can make it look even a fraction similar as that scoreline, it'll prove that they are worthy of that number 3 seed going into this playoff. And I think that's one thing that you're looking at. Now kind of wrapping things as we have time getting into this Gavitu, I will say that I haven't been the most impressed with West Virginia University, especially in that search and destroy. Because a lot of those times, if you were going against a team that may be a little bit higher in seed than Old Dominion, let's say even if you're playing against St. Edwards in your next matchup or Colonel Esports in your next match, you're not going to get away with a lot of the rounds that you got away with there.
Definitely.
And if you're thinking about that foot, there's still areas where West Virginia need to improve on as well.
There definitely are against a team that will punish you, and if you're going round for round, every round matters. More so, again, like you were saying, against a team that maybe you're confident you can handle. And going back to that key to success we gave for West Virginia at the top of the show, it's don't get lazy in your game plan. Just because there's a team you can beat, don't let that be a reason to not execute. You should go in every time and execute like you're playing or wanting to be the best team right in this next Star League. So against teams like that, we'll see if they end up faltering in that sense, or maybe they're just trying to cruise to a win here tonight. Either way, that could be something that separates them down the road that we'll end up seeing if they sharpen up here. And this control could also be very telling of how swift they are to close out a series, right? Do you give a team like Old Dominion a map and suddenly they have life in a series, or do you know to close it out and be done with it at this point?
There's only one way to find out, Cash. We get to sit, watch, and cast over our third match of the game. It's going to be Gavitu Control, as we are looking at... Pretty sure we are spectating on the team right now for that. Yeah, we're going to switch over to the Godcaster, and we get to look at these two. Great start out of Old Dominion. 3 kills in a row. Ethan, only one alive, at least able to pick off Static. A second one onto Love should slow things down for Old Dominion, not allowing them to get that map control, but... even still, I'm a lot more confident in the slaying potential right now. Midnight's got an AR out.
And so does Ethan as well. So this matchup, those sub players playing a fast AR position, and we'll see what these 1v1s end up looking like. Midnight's going to take one here as they're trying to get B control, but there's 3 players over here for the side of West Virginia. You have to realize this quickly, otherwise this B site could be gone, and Midnight keeping an eye on things, but it's up to his teammates to wrap back here. It's almost a second take of progress, and you've got to make a move if you're the side of Old Dominion.
Yeah, the nades off spawn, not really getting anything done. Midnight at least able to cut off yet another one on the inside of that zone. You will finally roll over those West Virginia players, and now it's Midnight's turn to dance with the rest of them. Second tick did get cemented in, so the B zone is very susceptible to capture right now. But off the respawn, you can see West Virginia, they pack their bags and they head over to the A zone. They hop on forward and they got full control. Everybody from Old Dominion have to fight out of their spawn. You're looking at player number 5, Midnight, playing around the outside. He's going to find the pick on the panic. Little bit of room now to push on forward. Static here on the flank to the strike on in. Midnight from up top. They deny again from the capture, but another 2 ticks going to be picked up at another zone.
West Virginia playing quickly around the stack, and that's what's put them in such a good position, but you have 20 seconds left on the clock, so those 4 ticks aren't going to get you anywhere if you don't get one zone captured. At least they stop the clock here, but the way Old Dominion's been shooting, especially Midnight sitting at 6 and 3, I mean, you can't really afford to get wiped off again.
Oh, Panic's going to get the kill, take down Static, and that's going to add another minute to the clock. Bruford already over to B. I think that's going to stagger out a couple of these positions from Old Dominion. You can see that Love's going to give up that aggressive angle. Bruford trying to take the gunfight, though. Love takes down the player from the inside. Panic's gonna get cut down as well. Much needed out of Old Dominion right now. Lives are even, Cash, so by all means, this round is not over yet.
How smart of Midnight there to engage up this P1 stairs, get a kill, and back down. Though he gets cut down there, it still was enough to just slow down those defenses because 2 players fell. Not all of this B progress is depleted yet. That's just because Old Dominion cannot get in an aggressive enough position with all of the players for West Virginia sitting
down.
ring. So we'll see if they can sniff out those ring players. But until that happens, I mean, you just got to get a toe on to stop this clock, and Old Dominion can't really get out of spawn.
Static from downtown lands the nade. That is going to breathe life back into Old Dominion for the retake. Player on the back. Nice raid from Noodles. Kills Bruford, and all eyes forward for the rest of Old Dominion. They have put their foot down in this control round. They have denied West Virginia of so much. A lot of ticks going to be collected, but if you don't get this one, I mean, Old Dominion finally going to strike first into one of these games. 5 lives left. You look at Noodles from a distance. Nice shots there onto Bruford. Panic. Can you reach this in time? Only 5 seconds. 3 versus 5. They're going to hop on. 4 seconds left onto this. Love around the outside. It doesn't matter. 3 players. The zone went too fast. And all in all, West Virginia, that was close round, but they get the round win.
And you hate to let that go if you're Old Dominion, and with how hard they fought down to, again, being up alive there with less than 10 seconds left, just to give up the stack that quickly. And that's just a testament to West Virginia's decisiveness. That was how they played the whole round, though it got close in time at some points. They stacked B, got it all the way up to 2.5 ticks before getting killed off of it, instantly ran over, stacked A, got 2 ticks, and then that just makes your job that much easier. They decided to quick stack it while they had the numbers over at B, and it pans out for him. So again, decisiveness will put you down and control. Old Dominion punished for it early, but here on A to stop the clock as well. We'll see what they can shape together for their first offensive go.
This is already a hard map to attack on. Makes it even harder when you have the pressure to must win on attacking round. A lot of control from West Virginia around the boat. Cyro on the inside, Bruford around the outside. Kills going their way. Cyro's going to find another kill inside that boat.
Oh no.
Ethan's glocking off the spawns too. 2 down for Old Dominion. Ethan backs up, pans over, a little bit of a Yui, and he's going to find Static on the inside. Shut him down. 60 seconds on the clock here. And these kills, oh my goodness. It is only blue in the feed cache. Ethan on 4 in a row. Looking for a little bit more. Shows respect for now, but you're going to have to battle that out sometime if you're Old Dominion. A little shaky there from Ethan. Shots aren't going to hit. Still alive, though, and this is going to burn a lot of time off the clock. 35 seconds left.
Cyro wraps back to B, knowing someone could be there, ends up finding the kill on Static, and now you're just getting chopped down out of spawn. And that was a must-win defensive round for the side of Old Dominion. They let that one slip through, and now they're looking down the barrel of being down to 0-2 in this control. It just seems like this round is definitely going to be the catalyst to kind of send them packing, it feels like, unless they can muster up something crazy. West Virginia, too much presence around the map. You get put in that spawn trap, and now you have 10 seconds left to capture 2 zones. Now, if you get 60 seconds on it, sure, that's great, but you're down 10 lives. You can't afford to get wiped off the zone again. Old Dominion have no room for error.
Not at all. They're at least going to hop onto the A zone. Stop the clock at 10 seconds. And Knight's even going to find yet another kill. 3 players here to get that second take underway. Static up top, zoning away these West Virginia players. Swiro goes down just outside that boat. The A zone's going to be captured after all, Cash, and suddenly it's a little bit of a turnaround for Old Dominion. They breathe life back into the roster. Minute to play, and the life disparity suddenly wiped clean after that A hold.
It was 23-14. Now it's 17-13. They went 6-1 in lives. So seeing the turnaround here in this mid round, the adjustment they were willing to make to get that one done. But 40 seconds left on the clock. I mean, this push has to be successful. You're not really going to have a ton of time to hike and coordinate a push across the map again. You're going to go 2 for 1 in the feed. You've got to sniff out this player green, and you find it, but now they're going to wrap back and respect the spawn push that's coming in. You've got to win this next gunfight here if you are Old Dominion.
West Virginia, they took it to the last possible second, and they made it happen. Dominion, can they do that too? On screen with Midnight. Duels from a distance. Nice shots there. He's on the flank. He's going to get 2. Swiro and Bruford knocked off the roster. 3 players going to stack this one out. The site's going to go quick off the respawn. Can they make it there in time? Second take getting worked on, but it's Panic! Panic from the good lines up all the players on West Virginia. Ethan's going to battle back in. 15 seconds now. That may have been the nail in the coffin of this round. Noodles trying to make it all happen all the way top. Artillery Panic's going to shut him down with the pistol. And that's going to be all for this round. Only 4 seconds left. Nobody in a position to touch. Ethan's just going to shut down Midnight to make it even worse for the roster. And like you said, Cash, right now, Old Dominion, they are staring down the barrel of losing out on their round of 16 match.
They made the adjustment mid-round. That back play, I have to respect, right, how solid of a push that was. It just wasn't enough to hold off that second wave of gunfights with the defense coming back in. Now, a reverse sweep and a reverse sweep is what we've got to see out of Old Dominion. I don't know that they have it in them. Love have slowed down tremendously. Midnight and Noodles having decent enough games. Midnight, of course, really being the shining star here for the Old Dominion squad. You got to do that and then some to pull the rest of the team on board to get a round win on the board here, but West Virginia opting for the early clock stop. And again, no one's been pushed out of green for the side of Old Dominion. You're just playing with so much pace and pressure if you're West Virginia that the collapse has always been so slow for Old Dominion here in this control.
So it is. So the collapse is going to be here. Shaky shots from Ethan. It's going to cost him his life. Love walks away on top of the gunfights. And a heads up play for Cyro up top, though, not going to win it out. Big kill there from Cyro as he's going to find 2 big kills. Bruford, a little bit of parkour along the top of the ship. Gonna get a little bit of a freebie as soon as he drops down Midnight to fall. And Bruford now range true over the rest of this map. Has to stay alive for the team to have safe passage on in. Cyro lines up another double kill. And hopping into this A zone, it's gonna be done. Midnight at least gonna hop in to try to cut down some of these players, but now 2 minutes to work on it. Look at this play from Cyro, already in enemy lines.
3 down. Now Cyro has so much control playing their back trucks. They're going to be spawning as deep as they can defensively. You get a kill if you're Midnight, but Panic already stopping the clock. They could win this round with 40 seconds having come off the clock total, which would be unreal if they can. For now, you've got to get Panic out of the spot, and he's been playing cool and composed this entire control.
Old Dominion, they at least hold things off for now. But you remember, again, back in round number 1 for the defense of Old Dominion, they fought tooth and nail, and they still lost Cash.
Yeah.
12 lives to 17. And then his eyes on Bruford. It's a big kill to at least slow down and make sure nobody slips the line just yet. You see, not a lot of map control for Old Dominion, but at least they're winning their gunfights. Midnight's going to burst on through, take down Panic with a little bit of a switcheroo, and aims at the players from the respawn, though Bruford gets the better, and trading out like this, it's just not good enough for Old Dominion. 8 lives to 13, a minute left. Ethan slowly working his way back towards this zone. A lot of heat's going to be here, but you really need to dig deep if you're Old Dominion. Beautiful shots from Static, and I think that's the answer that you were hoping for.
I think what's going to end up being the nail in the coffin is what it was last time. Look at how they cannot get in an aggressive position because they cannot keep ring control. They try. They have green control looking up P1 stairs and ramp, but they cannot get ring control. That is keeping them pinned in the back. Noodles doing all they can, but when he gets wiped off the board, that's where that 3-stack floods through and comes in. They have yet to get in an aggressive position beyond this B zone, and I think that's what's hurting them the most. Now just having 5 lives left, I mean this one should be over.
Well, backed into a corner. Old Dominion looking to prolong. Noodles goes down with an nade, and shots from Bruford to get 2. Midnight now has to hold on with Static. It's all up to Static. 15 seconds left. All the way up top, and here he comes from behind. Player number 4 out of West Virginia. Nail in the coffin. Breaks the hearts of Old Dominion fans all over for the COD community, and that's going to be a 3-0 sweep tonight for West Virginia University.
Started off a little, not even shaky in the Berlin hardpoint, but Old Dominion more so. Not to say that West Virginia played shaky. Old Dominion played pretty well through that first half of the hardpoint. Showed some promise at times in the S&D, and then there inside of the control had maybe a moment or two, but really it was all West Virginia there after clutching up in that round 1 offense win. They won 2 offenses to close this one out in 3-0 fashion. And just looking at Ethan, right, doing all of the route work, going back and forth from spawn to boat, chopping players down wherever he went. Had a fantastic series here tonight.
Yeah, and I think, we made that comparison between Ethan and Midnight going into Gavatu. Both players have the same kind of play style, very explosive, and on a whim, they can, blow up a whole game.
Yeah.
But I think you just saw the consistency out of Ethan a little bit more. Midnight was getting shut down a couple times. You mentioned it yourself. Ring control was what Midnight had their eyes set on, but every single time, you saw that explosive play almost blow up in Midnight's face, just biting off a little bit more than they can chew, and Ethan just so comfortable in making those plays, running the MP40 at times that you need to get on those flanks, and I'm impressed with this West Virginia squad, to get a 3-0 here, but I don't think I'm done talking about what I was saying earlier. We can pin our sights over to West Virginia, the winning team, for round of 16 between this matchup, but that was not a clean control at all. And again, it's the same thing, like I said, Cash, about that Search and Destroy. You run that back against a team that's a little bit better than Old Dominion, and you don't get away with half those rounds.
I think a lot of that plays closer. Though they were able to win by the margins that they were, like you said, you play against a team any different, and that could have been a 6-5 control. That could have been or S&D. That could have been a 3-2 control. Right? Teams are, not going to let that go unchecked. No matter what team you're playing against in any rounds further, whether it's a lower seed or not, you've got to respect that it's got to clean up. You have to find a way to tighten it up because again, it wasn't clean, and you don't want to be punished for that down the road. So the execution, I want to see it a little bit sharper out of West Virginia. I know that they can't going forward, right? It's just a matter of do you do it in time before a team checks you for it here in a deep playoff run. So West Virginia, it was a good win, solid win, could be cleaner, so hopefully they can get that as they start to advance into that round of 8 as well.
Yeah, it's only the first round of playoffs, so maybe they're just shaking off those playoff jitters. So congratulations to them for the winners. But coming up next, Cash, we have St. Edward's University versus Colonel Esports, and I'm excited for this. Both teams, they fought their way out of the LCQ. And I want to talk about this a little bit. We don't have any interview, so we can talk about this to get set up into our next match of the day. St. Edward's are actually from the same division as West Virginia University, and their only loss through the season was to West Virginia. So I'm sure they're looking for a little bit of a rematch, because if they win this, they're going to be finding themselves playing against West Virginia again.
It's one of those matchups where you want to take care of business in this series, but your eyes are set on that next round, and hopefully they're not set too far ahead that you lose sight of what business you have to take care of here. But for St. Edwards, it's definitely looking forward to getting back to West Virginia, and you want to get the last win, the win that matters. So for St. Edwards, that's what you're looking at here. This is a Nicholls State team that has struggled to beat top teams the entire year. I mean, they finished the regular season 5-2. That's not bad. Teams would love to be in that position, but they cannot close the gap between those top teams. This is going to be a great first round show to see if they've really made strides here in this kind of 3-week break we've had.
It really is, but before we get ready for that match number 2, we're going to head to a quick little break, get players situated and set up, and we will see you on the other side with some more Call of Duty Varsity League.
Was attempted pick coming in for the Tempered Fate out of Light
Oh, I
Pulse,
thought
but
they
it didn't
might try to
connect.
collapse it.
They're looking to see if they can get the pick on an
Needs to be
Ubi.
careful.
And now Aslak gets flashed on. Here's the True Shot Barrage. That's a long
Oh,
one. Hard
he
no!
kills him!
Hard is huge! They can't stop him, and Aslak finds Light Pulse.
He's in! Oh my god!
Hard.
Aggressive position up here, and I think of it is used a very awkward way. It might be able to reveal his position, but Scott Flyboy doesn't need to use it now. And somehow, Scott Flyboy is able to take out 4 members.
And they've
They got him.
Mirror locked in. Jack
Oh,
does
no.
a lot of damage, but is finally slain by the Ren. A double kill. Gone Fun trying to survive, but it should be too much to bear as they lose 4 members. Only the mid laner survives, or does he? Because Lobos wants it. He is on the
That's
prowl.
it.
He's hunting down, and it's an ace. That will be game, victory, and series won by Maryville.
Ultimately a 1-on-2. Rolling out. Last one alive. That'll be a destroyed rendezvous. They're running out of bullets. They have to make a reloading effort if they want to repeat again, but the off is here. Jump for a shot. Bait it up. A beautiful one from Bolo. A 3K.
God.
Unleash power, always getting him.
Oh.
Gets 2. They actually turn it around because they got the solo kill on the other side that helped out.
They
Now
killed each other in bot
You
lane.
gotta kill Gorka. Can you kill Gorka? I don't think so. He's
Bam,
too
bam,
low.
bam, bam,
He's
bam.
huge. He's throwing those axes and getting a triple kill.
I really don't know what all this utility is looking to accomplish, but I guess it's doing it. They're still alive. 1 HP, 1 player, 1 chance to stop and keep this opportunity under their belt. 1 more shot needed. 6 bullets left. A kill.
Oh!
Can't do it. It's Flowery with another 4K.
And there you have it, the plays of the week from the NACE Star League. And don't forget, if you want to check out all of the action from every single game, because it is non-stop action here at the NACE Star League, check out our broadcast. Tuesday, we got Rocket League Overwatch. Wednesday, Rocket League COD. That's today. Thursday, we got Smash. Friday, unfortunately, no broadcast, but Saturday and Sunday, we got back-to-back Smash and CSGO. It's going to be a fun time, and you do not want to miss it. Plenty of action while the playoffs start to come to a close. Once again, welcome back to the Call of Duty Varsity League. My name is Seymour, with me, Cash. We just got done our first match of the day, West Virginia versus Old Dominion. Cash, you know, any finishing touches to that game, because West Virginia, a 3-0 sweep, and now they're into the second round.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see. I know they're going to be watching this matchup against St. Edwards, right? Because, again, when you're the team that's beat a team like St. Edwards, knowing this could be your second round matchup, you're going to have eyes on the series, see how hot they come out to perform. So I expect West Virginia to maybe keep tabs on the series, or at least check that final score at the end of the day. But, again, if St. Edwards is their next round matchup, they're going to need to play cleaner Call of Duty than what we saw there. Dialing into this one, though, St. Edwards, for the side of them, we've got Fiasco, Reality, Combat, Vanity, and for Nickel State, Dreco, we've got SJ, Q-Tippy, and C-Mac here. I mean, for Nickel State, we've seen a lot of them this year, and for St. Edwards, this might be our first time covering them here at NACE.
It's definitely going to be my first time covering this roster in particular. You look at Reality and Vanity coming from last year's, varsity team. I'm pretty sure Combat and Fiasco moving up from their academy team. So a little bit of a change up in the players, but the St. Edwards University squad starting to come together for this fall semester. And going up against each other, you got the 6-1 for St. Edwards versus 5-2 from Colonel Esports, representing the West. I know we don't have a lot of Western teams here inside of the playoffs, but we can dive more into that later, Cash. We're taking a look at the maps, though, and this is going to be a fun one because we got a double dose of Bokosh to open it up. Gavasu map 3, and if we need it, Tuscan and Berlin. I know that you are probably sitting behind your desk smiling from ear to ear.
I absolutely am. Bakaj to kick things off. Berlin, the last map. I mean, I know I've been, watching MW2, but just to get back here, this is the series I'm talking about. So I'm excited for Double Bakaj to kick things off. And then, of course, map 4, Tuscan is always a treat to watch, too. So if we can get a Tuscan hardpoint in tonight, along with the Bakaj hardpoint, I mean, I'm sitting pretty.
Hey, you know what? I am all for that, and especially considering the St. Edward's squad that we haven't really got to look at too much. I know last year, I'm pretty sure one of their superstar players, Seeker, was a player that I was always interested in seeing, but Seeker's not going to be on the roster right now. In fact, you're bringing up a couple players from the academy team who were undeniable in CCL Academy, Cash. So I think this is a pretty dangerous St. Edward's University team. I think going into the playoffs, this is a dark horse roster who could really take down some of the best. And I was saying they're looking to rematch West Virginia, look to get a little bit of, I guess, revenge on that team and move on forward. And I think this iteration of St. Edward's can make it happen. But before that, you got to go through Colonel Esports, a team from the West. And this is another squad in the playoffs that I was thinking could upset because of the location disparity, being as a Western team. Yes, they were only 5-2 in their division, but it's somebody that you just cannot ever underestimate.
You can't. It's just a matter of all 4 of these guys getting on the same page here. I mean, C-Mac talked about it when we got to interview them earlier in the season. They want to stay focused and want to go for this Vanguard Championship, but these pieces have to start falling into place, and, well, they've got to fall into place now. I mean, your first-round matchup is going to be St. Edward's, a team that's looking to prove themselves as a contender for that title. This would be a great win for them to carry momentum going for the rest of the playoffs. For Nickel State, this will show that the work that they've put in here in this 3-week break is starting to pay off.
Become a leader for life and check out U.S. Army. Thank you, Army ROTC, for helping sponsor the NA Star League as well as the Call of Duty Varsity League. As we get into the Bakaj hardpoint, Cash, Bakaj a day keeps the doctor away. I'm just recently getting over an illness, so I know that this is going to make me very chip after seeing it. As St. Edward's University are already starting off well. They got 16 points to the 6 of Nickel State University for this opening hardpoint. Fiasco doing a great job at anchoring, and they should be locked in for the rotations as well.
Barring any kind of break coming in from the side of Nickel State, this is a great opening for them. Now, this is the question. If you're Colonel Esports, how do you look to push through this? They're trying to get top side of the map control and then working through Barn. This is a good push for them. They're going to find a kill off the opening break. It gets traded out, but it's going to be 3-for-1 in the feed. They don't have spawns, but from the front, they do have control. Now, can they keep applying pressure here to try to flip these spawners out?
Yeah, Colonel Esports actually doing a great job at fighting for the front. They're going to start collecting this time, see if they can pin back the Hilltoppers in their own spawn, but the retake coming through from Barn is going to be Vanity for the grenade. Actually, traded out from Dreco. Combat's going to hop in for the contention. Don't know where these players are. He's a little bit too far forward, and Q-Tippy going to rip that player right off the board. Reality's turned to hopefully contest for a little bit longer, but he drops as well, so a lot of back and forth. Finally, 3 cut down from Fiasco, Vanity, and Combat. They break the hill back in for the last 16 seconds. Looks like St. Edward's going to be holding their lead as Nickel State look towards Grandma's.
And I hope they start to back up. Obviously, SJ was the last one to give that a push in Barn, but hopefully you didn't let Vanity slip the line and play spoiler on your P3 setup. We'll see what this Penge looks to be, but it's a 3-pronged attack coming in from the front and the sides here for St. Edward's to get this break. But you battled from the front if you're Nickel State, so if you can get a good hold here, again, you could very much overtake the lead, but you've got to hold on for this push, and already spawns flipped out. C-Mac's got to do a job to clear it out.
Fortunate shots there from Fiasco, but you do get the spawns if you're the Hilltoppers, so you're going to hit this right away. C-Mac set up to watch it, cuts those rotations off. Vanity just biding his time up top as St. Edward's forced out yet again. They're going to have to play for the front. Vanity spots Q-Tippy through the wall, going to take him out. 30 seconds to fight for here, and Hilltoppers, they want every second. A 10-point game between these two teams. Dreco's gonna get shot there. Combat actually lines up 2 outside, and 3 down means that Colonel Esports kind of have to start thinking about the rotation. They're stuck here in the back line, and they can't get out. Q-Tippy's their only hope.
You gotta get the rest of this time and push across the map here. Obviously, spawn's going to be St. Edwards here as this hill looks to pop. It's aggressive through the mid-map, but they don't look to win any of these gunfights off the opening break. Vanity finds 2 when you just haven't won a rotation if you're St. Edwards. Sure, you got the P3 rotation, and you got a good amount of time there, but it's got to be consecutive. See if they can work across the map. They've kind of held this right side the entire time. Now, can they push across? You find 4 kills. You start to move that line and that front, but just to get chopped down by Vanity again. 13 streak. Wait a second. Sorry, Seymour.
They got the spawns. They got the spawns, Cash. Somehow, Colonel Esports, they're not out of this just yet. You get the break on in. You got the better spawns. You're losing the gunfights, but you still have this chance to make it a little bit costly. And unfortunately for them, they don't make anything out of that gracious spawn that they get. And they're forced right back over to 2P3. Yet another set of kills coming through from the Hilltoppers. The breaks gonna be inside the hill for now. Fiasco on a 4 spree, looking for that glide bomb. Hopefully trying to play for that streak. Unfortunately, gonna get cut down by Dreco. 109 to 68 as we head over to P5.
Just to back it up for a second, Vanity was 14-3 at one point on a 13 kill streak, so that one definitely slipped by us. Saw him pop a couple 2 pieces and didn't know the damage was that severe, sitting at almost quadruple positive here, and the scoreline starting to reflect that. But if you're Nickel State, you have control of P5 early on. Can you start to match or at least slow down Vanity on this? And slaying very lopsided, and you're still in this game besides that. So for Nickel State, if you can get warm, you should be alright.
Q-Tip uses a little fancy footwork, actually breaks the ankles of that glide bomb. It doesn't matter because the Hilltoppers are going to follow it up quite well, break that hill back in, and they got high ground confused. Asco in the share finds himself on a hill, going to be at an end there as Dodge cut him down the inside of this hill, still fighting for time. Reality is himself now on his short 4-4. Nickel State, this is dangerous for them. They're starting to actually fall behind in a bocage. They're going to really need this. I like this heads-up call to flip the map.
I do as well, and with how lopsided slaying is, to be down 60 points isn't all that devastating. Now with Bocage and the next hill, this could flip on its head, of course, but if they can really just start to win a couple more of these ones around the map, this game should open up for them quite a bit. They made the heads-up play to rotate and flip out for spawns. Can they keep control of it? They play so aggressive through this mid-map that there's an opening through barn for spawns to get flipped out again. Nickel State has to retain control of the left side while trying to multitask and get some points on the board.
C-Mac makes the play, but it doesn't matter. It's still Hilltoppers walking away with time. Fiasco on the inside, just like a turret with the automaton. Holy mackerel, this guy is just not missing. 22 seconds to fight for inside this hill. You can see Reality looking towards the respawns. He jumps around the corner, takes down Q-Tippy. So that early rotation that Nickel State made, Cash, it ends up being for nothing.
It does. It's just now we're starting to see that conversation of slaying and hill time going hand in hand. If you can look at the right side scoreboard, you see how dominant and how positive these players are. That's just allowing them to move around the map with ease, get lanes open, get to the hill. It's just that ebb and flow of you find kills around the map, it's going to be easier to get to the hill. For Nickel State, they're not finding these kills, therefore having a much harder time getting spawns and getting towards the map. Another 4 down in the feed. This game has been blown wide open since P4 the last go around, and St. Edwards on the prowess to close this out here in the next couple of hills, barring Nickel State getting some guns warm, getting some kills.
Yeah, heading over to P3. Looks like Colonel Esports are looking to put all their eggs in one basket. It's also actually, they're going to go for a hit at the second hill. They know there's 20 seconds here, and it looks like they want it, though. They can't get past Reality Cash. It's another 3 down for Nicole State University as they're heading back to the respawn, and somebody slipped the line. It's going to be combat this time in behind enemy territory. Only good for 1 before going down. But you look at this on screen. Reality's found himself a glide bomb as he's on 8 in a row. And you could use that to put this away. You could use anything. St. Edwards, they are just looking clean.
And the spawns in the back, you get that flip out. St. Edwards now going to be able to push through, bully out, get these kills, and call it a day. They can still win it here if they hold it fairly cleanly. If you're Colonel Esports, you're going to try to get in. I think more than anything, just try to get a couple gunfight wins under your belt. The entire team for St. Edwards playing so even. Over 20 kills for all of them. Reality, your hill time guy, getting the job done there as well. Not really able to lose too many gunfights here either, as they look to put this one away. Not going to be able to win it here at this point, but expect them to close it out on P4. Nickel State just didn't come with that slaying power that you have to keep up with St. Edwards.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a great job at holding on for right now, but they're not getting any time off of this P3, so St. Edwards are actually still holding quite a successful lead at this, about just over 100 points, around 120, as they rotate over to P4. It looks like, again, Nicole State are going to be the first ones here. You look at Fiasco making his way around the outside. A little bit of pincer play with Reality, though Fiasco gets dropped, puts Reality in a situation where he really needs to go big, takes out the player in the back, C-Mac, and that forces the spawn out for player number 1. Things are about to get a little chaotic, Cash, so we enter this hill. It's 1-for-1 trade, and the break from up top. Combat's going to be here. One by one, they just collapse into this zone. Q-Tippy's going to piece together a double kill, but is it enough to hold on tight? Combat makes his way in and immediately going to die. Reality, I mean, Fiasco and Reality trying to hold this one, but, I mean, Nicole State are just prolonging the inevitable here.
Not giving them an opportunity to close this game out. They got a substantial amount of time on this P4, at least until the contest started coming in. I mean, it's still a 100-point game and just 15 points needed to close it out for St. Edwards, but Nickel State starting to show some fight here and starting to show that they're just not going to close this one out with ease.
Oh no, only 7 seconds needed. Glide bomb's gonna get called in, just like the last time around. The collapse to follow the glide bomb, looking to feed on through this riverbed. Fiasco's gonna enter the hill. 3 go down, make it 4. It's clean as ever for the Hilltoppers. May have been shaky to end things out, but they get the job done. A 250 and a 146 Bokash hardpoint.
It was fast from start to finish for the side of St. Edwards, which we come to expect from this team. They really do, and like you said, those academy players as well, you know, stepping up and filling those roles wonderfully for this team. They seem to be gelling and hitting form at the right time. It was shaky at times in a sense for Nickel State, but you got to give testament. Nickel State's just a good team that can really battle you there, but when St. Edwards wanted to run away with it, well, they did.
I don't think it's the one thing that we've highlighted a lot, because we've seen this Colonel Esports team quite a bit on stream, you and I, Cash, and always a little bit kind of left undesired after they're done with the fact that I think they have the right idea, you know, they have the right strategy, they just can never, you know, match up when it comes to the slang, and that's something that's going to be important when it comes to this series, because St. Edwards University, I mean, this is a well-rounded team.
Yeah.
They may be second in their conference leaving the regular season, but, I mean, this is a team that could easily be in first place in there, in place of West Virginia University, because of because of the fact that you look at this team and you look at the way that it plays. I mean, these players have been going to school with each other for a while, and I'm sure that they're starting to become quite buddy-buddy with one another, and I think that if you're looking at this in the sense of the playoffs now, you have your set 4 for St. Edwards University, and this is when their dark horse run begins.
It truly is. This is a squad that, like you said, has so much time put in with one another, whether it be playing against each other, academy, varsity, or gaming and teaming together. They definitely have that potential, and you know that they hated that they missed out on that #1 spot. I mean, you look at the conference they came out of, and you're like, oh, they finished second. How did the team like St. Edwards finish second? You look at who they were in a conference with West Virginia. Definitely one to be like, oh, okay, so they've already been tried and tested here. Now they just want to show that they're battle ready for this playoff run. And for the side of Colonel Esports, like you said, I couldn't have said it better. It's just the slang. Their strategies are good. They execute. It's hard to say, you know, in a map that they lose by over 100 points, oh, there's no way they were executing strategies, but it's like you can be executing strategies and it just not look the way you want, because like there's a difference between like wanting to have a strategy executed and not, and then executing it and it just not going your way. Winning those gunfights, that could have easily been a flipped score line, right? That's just how intelligent this team plays. Nickel State has the right idea, like you were saying. It's just a matter of their executions get snuffed as soon as they try to snap the play off, because again, you go 4 down in the feed. It's just hard when you can't win those gunfights. So that's a good problem to have, right? So many teams can win gunfights, but when push comes to shove and it comes down to fundamentals, you end up faltering. Nickel State, they're a very fundamentally sound team. It's just hard when you can't get those kills on the board, and there can't be anything more frustrating, right? Then you've got the game plan, you know what you want to do. the kills just don't come with it, and that's so hard because you look like a team that doesn't have an idea what's going on around the map. But when you watch those arrows, you know that they want to put on something. It's just finding those kills, and that's such a hard thing because it feels so simple, right? Just find a way to get them. But against a team as strong as St. Edwards, nothing's going to show more that you have that resilience than trying to keep up in the slaying with this team.
It's hard when you're giving Vanity a 13 streak. It's hard when you're giving Reality an 8 streak and giving up, the glide bombs for them, especially on a Bokash when things could just be kind of blown out of proportion and steamrolled with those streaks. That's going to bring us to the Search and Destroy. We may be done with the Bokash hardpoint, but we're not done with the Bokash Search and Destroy. And this is something where you're looking at it, you can definitely kind of hit the brakes, slow things down for Kernel Esports, but I don't want them to do that, Cash. Actually, I need to see them meet some resilience, like you said, with this team. Pick up the pace, start fighting these confident gunfights, get into positions that you deny information from the side of St. Edwards University. And if that means taking zigzag through mid, if that means, taking control of the riverbed, backing off those AR players, anything to rotate and move St. Edwards around the map and make them feel uncomfortable. You cannot allow them to own this map.
Definitely. Get around the map, clear it out with the information you have, all the things you were saying. That's how you can catch these, top-seeded teams off guard, because if you are St. Edwards, you can kind of afford to play one-dimensionally when you're playing against a team that's not quite up to your standard. Whenever you get a team that throws a change of throws and adaptation, suddenly you have to dig into the pocket and say, okay, what's next? What's our next play call? We didn't actually think we'd have to pull this out. So you can get a couple rounds on the board. If you are Nickel State, you already won in the first blood department. It does get traded out, but you at least got that edge there, Dreco, with another one on the board. So a decent opening break for the side of Nickel State.
Combat gets their barn for free and immediately evens us up in a 2v2. There's a player up in Addict. It is going to be Draco. UTP's going to recover that bomb. Head on back. Denying a lot of information here from St. Edwards University, but in a 2v2 setting, it just seems like they want to go for the gamble at this point. Nobody is moving a muscle.
And there's no way Combat didn't see Q-Tippy cross to scoop that bomb, so player 6, Fiasco's going to have an eye on that. Giving it up though and wrapping through. Maybe they thought they worked a B since you haven't seen anyone, but Draco has the potential to make a big play here. We'll see what the timing pans out. This could go either way.
Fiasco doesn't take the shot, and by that turn, you give Nicole State some false sense of security that you can get that bomb down, but you saw immediately as soon as Draco gets spotted on the cross by Fiasco, Combat started to put the pedal to the metal through the middle of the map, and by the time they knew it, they were already collapsed on by both simultaneously. That was picture perfect from St. Edwards.
And for Nickel State, you played the same gamble that you see teams do. It's too late in the round for them to not check B at that point. If you haven't seen anyone in a while, right, they're going to wrap over to B. You got caught out, and again, jostling, not being in position. Your planner's putting the bomb down, and you're not in a position to look over it, let alone take the gunfight when that you had to. You get the first blood once again, but you've got to find something successful behind it. They're holding shape here. This is a solid defensive setup. Can they not get caught out and give up a life?
It's the million-dollar question. Shay's actually going to double down for this one. Reality gets a trade, but damage has already been done, and a lot of map going to be open for St. Edwards to just get suffocated through. Q-Tippy's going to get aggressive through that lane, and immediately, and that is just perfect out of Nicole State University. Exactly what I was asking for. They just seize control of these annoying angles that Bokash allows you to have, the corners that you could just sit in and wait, and St. Edwards just couldn't win their gunfights because they had no idea where these Kernel Esports players were.
Great response out of Kernel Esports defensively to get a good round win on the board, and like you had said, you made them uncomfortable, you played weird off angles, and you didn't get information out of it. Now offensively, can you execute a bit better, especially around this objective play? Already aggressive through Zig. Now going stagnant is Nickel State here on this push. No information yet, but they are working through this quickly.
C-Mac just kind of shoulder to shoulder right now with Vanity. It spots him out somehow, and first blood yet again. Combat drops the bomb. Immediate trade coming through, quite similar to that first round we had, but you look at Kernel Esports and they're not done. Bomb's going to get recovered, and take a look at Q-Tippy. He's held already on the flank. Fiasco has no idea. He gets him behind, and Combat in a 1v3 all of a sudden. Backed against the ropes. Bomb's going to get planted on A. Combat's going to go big. Gotta play for the ace in this round. Bomb goes down towards A. He has an idea where these players should be located in the post plan. Just a lot of steps he needs to take to make this happen. Combat's gonna hop up to Attic. Q-Tippy not gonna be watching this angle.
Doesn't seem tank.
Oh, but Q-Tippy's gonna get eyes on it. And yeah, he didn't get the spot on the player for tank. So Combat, they know where this retake's gonna come through. All of a sudden, these players turn around and they take him down. And Nickel State, they take the lead.
Neither time, whether it was up there or sprinting through here, did not see Dreco playing at tank position. I thought he was going to have a free kill on Dreco watching A from outer tank. Didn't end up getting it. And for Nickel State, again, this is what we're talking about. It takes slowing it down in a mode like S&D to see it, but this team has a lot of game sense, has a lot of smarts and execution. When they are given the opportunity to execute those plays, it's great, and that sucks for St. Edwards, right? Because Search and Destroy comes down to how well you execute, and then can you win a couple of 1v1s? Of course you can if you're St. Edwards, but whenever the play calling is so sound, it's a hard thing to find kills around.
Well, you look at that from Combat. He uses the stun on the front door. The noise is enough to allow Fiasco and Avenue into Grandma's for that first blood, and Vanity for the double down for his first kill of this map. Bomb's gonna get planted at A. Fiasco finds another kill. Q-Tippy's down. That's gonna put Dreco against the odds in a 1v4. He's gonna get in behind. Punish Reality. Unaware of this location, but now they have an idea where Dreco's gonna be residing. The nade's gonna drop him down to 43 HP. Vanity watching him like a hawk, and here comes number 6 Fiasco to close the door for the round. And St. Edwards not long to stay behind. They even us back up 2 apiece.
I think that just came with those quick first bloods. It was a really explosive opening break, and when you get the first 2 kills like that, it can just be hard no matter what the circumstances. They got the bomb down quickly at A as well. Great execution out of St. Edwards there to respond back in a big way. Nickel State, though, with the work they've done, have it tied up 2-2. Now let's see what they can do to maybe carve out a lead, or see if they give St. Edwards 2 rounds of their own.
Looks like Colonel Esports want to take a different play through this round. They slow it down for a moment, though. SJ's going to get an angle into Reality. Q-Tippy pushes him into that moment, and SJ actually gets a second Vanity somehow drops. You're going to need a big play here from Fiasco. 1v4 now for the Hilltoppers. Working all the way through mid, somehow gets through, but the shots are not going to be enough to take him down. Doesn't finish his food, and everybody from Nicole State just throwing shoulders at this player. Fiasco going to be good for a kill. Finally taking down Dreco. 1v3, 30 seconds left. SJ's going to be up top. Fiasco knows. Takes the gunfight. That's a second one, but it's not enough. There's just too many players, and Q-Tippy's going to be the one to put the round away. Back and forth we go. Cash and Nicole State, they want to hold this as far into a lead as they can.
Hey, they're 4-1 when they're winning these first bloods, so that's definitely something they need to continue doing, is winning out in that first, or excuse me, 4-2 when winning in the first bloods. And if they keep doing that, then they're going to be just fine, but as well as executing those plays. And okay, finally, for the life of me, I'll get my math right. 3-2 when winning in the first bloods. Will defensively they be able to hold on here and slow down again, keep the St. Edwards team guessing on what the game plan is.
Reality's going to find the first. What? Fiasco quick into that. C-Max somehow stays alive for quite a while, Cash, but Fiasco's finally going to put an end to it. Dreco playing close towards B. Close angle is going to mount him at least the jump onto Combat. Laying prone for a second one. Fiasco not ready for the prone player. 2 versus 2. Bomb down at B. It's Reality's turn to make a play. Shay watching this angle, and he's good for the kill. All up to Vanity.
And the fact that it's a 2v1 now, it's how that opening break went. Unfortunately, if you're Vanity, you're caught out with the sniper, you'll see if you can scoop a sub or something here. But you've got SJ watching this angle from top attic. I don't know if he's going to get a clean look.
Oh, I thought he cut the angle there. Just barely missing it out. 4-2 we go. Cash, Nicole State University starting to pull away with this search and destroy, and we haven't talked about it just yet. SJ into this roster, you know, player you and I haven't seen from Colonel Esports. 6-5.
definitely come into play. Dreco as well. AR is doing their thing in this Bacage, which feels weird to say. I mean, CMAC and QTP, right? They're getting entry, they're getting eyes on players, but it's really been Dreco and SJ going big here in the search and destroy. Vanny gonna get eyes, but Dreco doesn't care.
Wow.
Rips the head off. SJ behind that, as we were complimenting these players' play styles. Man, they're really taking it to St. Edwards here, putting themselves in a position to go match point in map number 2. Reality gonna have to step up to the plate and do another 1v4 situation, but I just don't know that's gonna happen.
I mean, you just look at Nicholls State University and the search and destroy. They're walking all over St. Edwards. They own the map. They're walking through like they are not allowing St. Edwards to get comfortable whatsoever. This is exactly the win condition that I was asking them to have going into this map too, and they're making it look so easy. Whether it's SJ or Dreco for these opening picks, I mean, somebody on St. Edwards needs to deny them, and I think a big piece of that is Vanity. 1-7 hasn't really been able to put this AR to work and slow down Colonel Esports.
Oh, we said if Nicholls State can piece it all together, they can be a team that can finally take down those top-tier teams like St. Edwards. They're piecing it together here in map number 2. You get first blood, unfortunate, but man.
Dreco, he was tucked away in the corner. They have no idea where this player is, but I don't know what's quicker, the last round or this one. I think St. Edwards just turned it up to 12 in that round, and they're having to let themselves a laugh. Is saying that they are not a team to scoff at, think that this is going to be over like that. As they just pick up the pace, Combat takes control of mid, and I think Colonel Esports, they had the right read to that round. They just couldn't execute on those kills.
Couldn't find the kills, and for St. Edwards, it was all 4 players aggressive through mid-map and river, just to push that out, which is their play style. It's just aggressive, and as a team, they haven't been able to get to those positions to be that effective against Colonel Esports, and now Vanity starting to heat up. A couple kills to his name in these last couple of rounds, and starting to win in that first blood column. This is where they find a lot of success, so this round here, we'll see how Nicholls State look to adapt.
Oh, Q-Tippy dancing with the devil right now. Vanity might be 1-7 in the last round, but now 3-7. Sniper caught with the glint. Q-Tippy a freebie. And now control of the back spawn. Spots out the player up top. Cooks up a nade for him too. Look at Q-Tippy showing a little bit of respect for that. It's around the outside. C-Mac to make the play to open up the map. Kill into reality towards B. Could be a rotation L, but instead SJ finds Fiasco. That should be bombed down towards A. Combat last alive. Dances inside Grandma's, but it's going to be Nicholls State University to take the search and destroy cash and even up our series. I am colored surprise after that one because I was not expecting Colonel to actually take the search and destroy in the series.
I wouldn't really expect them to take that round even. I mean, they had the man disadvantage, swung that 4-1. They went down the first blood and didn't lose anyone after that. And yeah, I really didn't have them taking a map in the series with how good St. Edwards has been playing this season. But that shows, okay, obviously obviously Colonel Esports has been giving this 3-week session time, right? They've been working on some strats and what they want to do in these situations. So to come out and execute against a team like St. Edwards shows, again, you take one map off a team like this, it shows that you could take this series potentially. So this next map is going to be very critical for them. It's going to be a respawn one where they could pull it off because their ARs were so hot. Going to a Gavitu, you get SJ and you get Dreco in those power positions. This is one they could take straight away. I don't want to call it a must-win, but with how landslide that slaying effort was in the first Bacage, I just don't know if in Tuscan they'll have it in them in a sense, depending on how this Gavitu goes. Lots of X, Y, and Z factors rolling around, but they do need to come out and take this control for sure, just to show that, okay, slang-wise, we can hang, especially when it matters, playing our lives. So I think they need to come out and take this gap too, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah,
you can, now you know that you can win a search, but can you take a respawn? And Gavitu control, we just saw how hard it was for, Old Dominion to actually take a round off of West Virginia, how back and forth it was, how key it was to have an annoying player like Ethan on your roster. And when you're looking at a team like St. Edwards, they have that. You look at you look at Combat in himself in that Search and Destroy. I think probably the biggest player I can showcase from that Bokosh Search and Destroy had a fantastic Bokosh hardpoint as well, but so did the rest of the roster on St. Edwards, so no surprise there. But you look at Combat, and his playstyle really fits Gavitu here. You know, that annoying submachine gun that can work around the map. He can pick up an AR and, you know, get the job done in that sense too. The only thing is, I think that when you're looking at it from Colonel Esports, you still have the recipe to success as well. You're going to need a big game from C-Mac. You're going to need a big game from SJ. SJ, new to the roster, didn't look as good in the hard point as you looked in the Search and Destroy. And I think if you're C-Mac, you were finding a lot of ways around the map because SJ was getting those opening picks. If you can kind of mirror that and replicate that going into this control, you could probably, or you might actually see a little bit of an upset here, folks, because I think that right now we're seeing a different Colonel Esports than what Cash and I are used to seeing.
Yeah, and I think that's because both ARs have come to perform. Generally, it's C-Mac and an AR. C-Mac generally leading the way in slaying. Now that both ARs are showing that they can supplement, and Q-Tippy's been having a perfectly fine series as well. You know, not to leave Q-Tippy out of the conversation, but generally we see C-Mac kind of paving the way, slaying and doing all of the dirty work for the team. Now we see that those ARs have come and able to not only match but best the ARs that St. Edwards brings. It's time to match in that submachine gun category. So C-Mac here on Gavitu could see him with the automaton. We'll see kind of how they opt to come out here off the break. But again, now can you match it in the SMG playstyle since your ARs have come to again make that easier for you, like you were saying SJ was doing. You get those lanes now that your ARs are looking down and looking over you confidently. Can you find those kills behind it? And like you said, an upset very much on the cards here. I know it's still early. We have a long series left ahead of us, but just to be able to take a map like that, that's just so critical for a Nicholls State team that we've seen struggling. That S&D didn't look like a struggle for them.
No, and I think that if we're kind of putting the head-to-head, I highlighted Combat for the sub role against him. I highlighted C-Mac. For SJ, I have to look at Vanity. I think SJ was getting a lot done on that map because Vanity was not playing very well in that Search and Destroy. However, Vanity was lights out in the hard point, and that is a scary thing to know going back into the respawns. If Vanity can activate, then you know that Combat is going to have a little bit easier of a route through Gavitu. So hopping in on this one, it looks like Nicholls State starting on the defensive side. St. Edward's going to lead the way for attack. As SJ's got an MP40 in hand, looking to meet them already through artillery. He's actually going to pass somebody through the wall, but nobody's going to be finding kills just yet. It's Combat for the first one. By the time SJ gets into the mix, it's already too late. Combat watching him, takes him down. Q-Tippy in the spawn is going to matter. It actually will, because Q-Tippy now can just live rent-free back here.
He's able to trust that his teammates can clear everyone off this B side, not even take a progress coming in. So for Nicholls State, they're matching that quick pacing that they like to play with for the side of St. Edwards. You keep trading out, but you at least get the people cleared off of B. Now you know that you want to wrap back and get that cleared out in its entirety. A couple players still paying respect towards A, not letting that quick rotation come back in, but now for Nicholls State, starting to find defensive form. I mean, off the break, they're hanging for now.
Fiasco's going to dip his toes back into B. First stick should be a sure thing here for St. Edwards. The Hilltoppers, though, they're looking for a little bit more. Fiasco is going to go down, but you still have a couple players there, and Combat's going to split the difference in attention for Colonel Esports. The retake working on both angles. They still haven't got Vanity over towards B, so a couple players still looking to lock that down, though. Vanity pops off another double kill over at B. Number 3 is going to be there. C-Mac drops 2. Vanity 6 in a row coming alive on Gavitu. And the B zone, it is chalked. It is gone. Minute 45 on the clock.
This is where you can't let Vanity get this comfortable early on in a map. They need to know for Nicholls State where he is. Have to prioritize trading out Vanity no matter what. And it can be hard when Vanity's a walking multi-kill at this point. One off of streaks, already giving them the easier route to get back towards A. I mean, Vanity itching after map number 2 to get back to a respawn and showing us why.
Draco from the top ropes, hops on down, gets better of Combats with the MP40. Brilliant shots there onto Reality, but it is a trade between those two players. C-Mac's going to be alive to see if he can hold some forward pressure against the Hilltoppers. in this position, but look at this life disparity. Vanity's going to find another double kill. Combat's going to take down 3, so they're going to hop right back onto this A zone. T-Mac goes down. All eyes forward now for the Hilltoppers as SJ, the forward line of contact, is going to take that first gunfight. 1-for-1 trade on the inside. Q-Tippy, can you reach for the stars to hold things for Colonel Esports right now? Last stick getting worked on. Q-Tippy's going to take down Combat. A little bit of dip dive, dodge, and he's going to go down still by Fiasco. On the inside of this hill, it's so back and forth, but it's only going to be one last player alive for Colonel Esports. It's going to be the round win for Hilltoppers. First round there, it was electric.
They just don't stop, ever. They don't stop moving in response, ever. The way that you, even on a map as big as Gavatu, have to find a way to be ready for gunfights in what feels like Bacage fashion. Again, already looking at the slang, that's just the biggest circle, question mark, asterisk, whatever you want to put on it for Nickel State in the respawns is how can you find a way to hang with pacing. Here we'll see on offense what they can do, but again, trading out is definitely a way you can keep up with slaying. Tax, opening up that way is also another way, but definitely finding a way to trade out these players and not letting them get as streaky as they do would be a good way to start.
Working towards the A zone. 3 players to be locked in for Colonel Esports. Nobody collecting time just yet. They're letting time burn down. As Draco works his way over towards B, you see Colonel Esports going to hop into that A zone. Draco gets caught out into the open. It's a couple back and forth, but C-Mac falls as well. So Hilltoppers now, they can put their full focus back over towards A. It's Vanity and Reality to clear things out, only giving up 1 tick of progression.
This next play is going to be critical. This will either put you in a spawn trap and you'll be down a couple sets of kills, or you can find a way to break out and get something going here. And well, it's looking like it's going to be the first option. You're going to get cut down. You're going to not have a clean lane, but as I say, that C-Mac finds a way through ring and unfortunately drops the gunfight. Hopefully that gives clean for his teammates over at this A side, but you got to make a move quick. Time really starting to dwindle.
Fiasco now set up with this auto in hand. It's going to be hard to walk into this A zone with him in this position. You can see the 1-for-1 trade as Shake goes down on the inside, so limited with pressure will be Colonel Esports. Now it's Vanity's turn to strike as setting up shop into the backline of Nicole State University spawn. Trying to cut away at this life lead and give Hilltoppers just a little bit more comfort in through the round. You can see 23 seconds left. Only 2 ticks has been able to get cemented over towards this A zone, and a kill feed. It's a sea of blue. So Hilltoppers left, right, and center. 13 seconds left before St. Edwards go up 2-0.
Next wave of kills has to go flawlessly for you, and I don't know that's going to be the case. Draco, the only one last alive. That's going to be the life there. You walk away with just 2 ticks of progress, and I think that's the bigger pain point more than the 10 life disparity you just faced. Either way, St. Edwards looking like that map 2 was just a blip, right? Didn't really happen. We were just going to go from 1 to 3 and pick up where we left off as far as slaying went for Nickel State. Their biggest pain point right now, and until we can see kind of the whatever, you know, if you can't hang with it, at least whatever adaptation you're going to make to slow them down, maybe holding preams a bit longer. We'll find out what they have in the back pocket here in this control other one. This could be a very quick transition over to map 4.
If you look at the differences here, we kind of painted the picture of Combat versus C-Mac. Combat 12-12, C-Mac 8-14. The stark difference in performances from those 2 submachine gun players. But I really want to highlight the Hilltoppers into this offense, how they can come together to put this one away. Can they make it look clean to take their lead back in this series? It looks like they're trying to work towards B this time around. Colonel Esports, they wanted to plug that hole in their armor, and they actually sent 3 that way cash. They do a good job at denying St. Edwards of the attack towards that B zone. They have to peel off to go back to A. And a couple kills go through from Colonel. They back him up for now. Q-Tippy trying to get the better of Combat up top, but it's Combat for a double kill, and that completely opens up this A zone for some progression.
Really, the only saving grace you have at this point for Nickel State is you do have ring control. Draco, they're going to get aggressive through the spawn, and that's instantly going to give up ring control. Vanity with the ability to shoot you in the back here as his teammates are taking care of business on A. What ends up coming of it and the positioning of Draco as he gets cut down there, going to be nothing. A progress now starting to quickly tick.
It's going to go by very quickly. Reality's all the way up top, dealing so much damage. The finisher is going to come through from Vanity and Fiasco. Now that forward aggression getting locked in here through Reality to watch this cross. Strecko's going to be at the end of his automaton. Peels over to the port, and it's going to be C-Mac for the trade on the inside the collapse. Can Nickel State hold on to this A-zone for now? 30 seconds remaining. C-Mac's going to get found. Vanity takes him down. Q-Tippy drops as well. That should be another minute on the clock here as the A-zone gets cleaned up.
This next play is going to be critical. Really, Draco's the only one in position to stop this ring control, but we saw it in our last series, and if we've seen it the entire year on Vanguard, it's got to be ring control defensively. At least just give you any kind of forward aggression to hold teams off coming off of spawn. For now, you don't have that if you're Nickel State. Reality in a great position just to apply pressure, look over the sub players once they get in position, and you're really fortifying your defenses if you're Nickel State over towards green control. So decent positioning out of them, but if this push in any way comes in more numbers than 2 through the front, you're going to be very overwhelmed here in a second if you're Q-Tippy.
Vanity, another double kill. Finds himself on 5 in a row. Reality taking his sweet old time to hop into the zone, but finally he will. Draco's got to turn around. Combat there to strike. Gives Reality a little bit of wiggle room down on the inside. The glide bomb's going to call zoning away these Nickel State University players. And oh no, what's going to happen? Gotta wait to see. 4 lives remaining as we hop back into the action. Bravo is going to be Nickel State trying to hold on to their lives. The lead so far in favor of St. Edwards. They're looking for their advantage in the series. They want to seize control of this best of 5 cash, and they are well on their way to do it. Only 22 seconds left. Draco with ring control. A lot of trigger discipline going to be shown there. Feeding the team back into his own players. Q-Tippy and Draco making the play. SJ watching over the shoulder. There's only 11 seconds left. This is their chance. Colonel Esports to prolong this control to hold on. They just got it done. Reality can't even touch. He cannot.
It's a 4v12, Seymour! Surely not! Right? I mean, I know it's too late and they did it, but it's a 4v12! I mean, if I'm Nickel State, I'm kind of chuckling a little bit. Now I'm feeling a little confident, like, they just let that happen? Okay, wait a second. That's... You can't let that happen.
That is a... That's all I gotta say for that one.
Yeah.
I mean, you had that in the books. St. Edwards, they fumbled that, and I'm sure they're going to be a little bit upset into the rest. But, I mean, hats off to Draco for making that play through mid. The trigger discipline to allow the information to Q-Tippy. It's enough to give him that round. But now, can Colonel Esports take an offensive round? This is going to be the hard part. Q-Tippy's going to work his magic over towards B, hop on the zone, stop the clock at a minute 8. Now looking for a little bit extra, but he takes a little bit too much, as Fiasco's going to get the better of that. That first tick getting worked on it, and that one tick is actually going to get locked in here. Fiasco's going to look to make this play. 9 HP and a dream to take down Draco, but that dream's not going to come into fruition. Still, we have Colonel Esports working on the zone, but there we have it. Reality and Vanity, they get the job done, and they clear it out.
Quickly, you gotta spawn if you are the side of Nickel State. You don't want to get caught in that spawn trap once again after what was a good opening break. You have one ticket B. Now it's just a matter of working, slow playing this A site, trying to get any kind of control that you can. C-Mac and Co gonna at least get the ball rolling here. You find a couple picks. It's a pinstripe kill feed, but you still are winning the numbers game. You're not earning any progress yet. You're still not comfortable. You know someone's playing back over at your spawn.
Reality
strikes again.
Oh man, a little reality check there for how this series is going in defense. For St. Edwards, it just looks so comfortable here. Fiasco, Reality have a crossfire lined up through the middle of the map. It's hard for Nickel State to get anywhere close to this A zone. 14 seconds left. As now the remainder are going to be coming through. A glide bomb's going to get called in from St. Edwards. It's going to land onto 2. Reality suddenly slipping in. Head combat now trying to collapse onto this hill, collapse onto the zone to take out Draco. 3 seconds remaining, and it looks like the Hilltoppers are going to get it done here in the control. Finish off with the defensive round. Yes, they slipped up back in the attacking side, but they get the map win, and they take the lead back.
2-1 going into a Tuscan for map 4, and Yeah, I mean, for Nickel State, you had some of them there. It's feeling like, West Virginia, where we were saying it's not been clean for St. Edwards, and that's not to take away from Nickel State. It's a testament to, again, when they can piece it together, it does look good, but it hasn't been enough apart from that search and destroy. So you get outslayed pretty devastatingly there in that control. You've got to find a way to shape up your Tuscan. That's simply the only key to victory I have left for Nickel State. You look sound, you're a fundamentally sound team, but when you can't find kills, no one gets to see, that executed play style. So we'll see if they come correct for Tuscan here to just stay alive in this series and maybe have the potential to force us to a game number 5. But for St. Edwards, where they blundered, they quickly made up for it.
I mean, it's time to tee up if you're Colonel Esports, Cash, because
Yep.
you are soon on your way to fighting through that loser's bracket, and you don't want to be in that position if you are Nicole State University.
Yeah.
We got next up the hard point. We're heading to Tuscan. We're going to have a little bit of a break before that, and when we come back, we're going to keep the ball rolling here in our second match of the day for the Call of Duty Varsity League. We'll see you on the other side. We're not going to have a break.
Oh,
I was
we're
wrong.
rolling.
We're going to keep this going. We are going all day, all night, Cash, here for this match. So as we go into this hard point, I do have a few things to talk about. I mean, Tuscan, it's pretty run-of-the-mill. It's pretty simple. We've seen this all year long, and there's going to be pretty much no changes to what we're expecting. It's an SMG map. And again, you got to go back to what we've been seeing. Combat has had no pushback so far through this series. And, I mean, back on Bocage Hardpoint, we saw how easy it was for players like Combat and Vanity to take control with the spacing that they were given because of the slang and how outmatched you were. And the same thing was shown in the defensive rounds there for that control. If you're Colonel Esports, it's so simple. I mean, we've been saying it all day long. You need to step up in that slaying category, because if not, Combat is going to walk all over you.
Yeah. Again, that Vanity can pop 2-piece at any time. Reality could just anything, right? This whole team's walking multi-kills. You just haven't seen them slow down the slaying effort. I think the best glimpse of that we got was really that defensive round that Colonel Esports just clutched up and took off of St. Edwards, where you force them to walk into your preems. It ties in what you had called for Nickel State to do going into the search and destroy. It's make them play uncomfortable and then slow the respawn down, right? Get it to where they're walking into a couple preems. If you're going into an SMG map, find a way to get them to have to run through those long lines of sight. Find a way to get control of the map to where, again, you're making them, catching them off spawn, losing those longer mid to long range gunfights. And then again, just finding a way to execute your play style as well behind that. So, you've got to play this SMG map at range the best that you can. CMAC, we know, can get going at any time as well, but for St. Edwards Combat, you got to have an answer for that. But it feels like whack-a-mole. If Combat's on fire and you slow him down, who's going to pop up next? You have to be ready for anything here. So in the respawn, just got to see a little bit more from Nickel State, see them piece everything together to really see this respawn win come in. But I don't know if they have it in the tank here. St. Edwards, man, when they're on, it's next level stuff.
The cogs are turning in this team, and they're looking to make sure that they finish the series on a high note. And I'm expecting this hard point to be quite similar to that Bocage in that same sense. The story is this all you have to offer if you are, Colonel Esports? You've said it before, Cash, back in the conference plans, the conference finals. Is this the distance of your reach? Is this the apex of what you have to offer inside collegiate Call of Duty right now if you're Colonel Esports? I mean, those are the questions. I mean, obviously this is early into the season. For the fall season, this is late into the season for Vanguard, so maybe your attention is in other places if you're these players.
Yeah.
But you're playing for the championship here. You're playing for the playoffs, and if you're either team, you have a lot to learn, especially if you're Nicole State University right now when it comes to the slang, the way you control the map. They did it picture perfect in the search and destroy. It's just kind of piecing it together in the quicker play style of a respawn hasn't really been there for Colonel Esports. Going into this Tuscan, I mean, this is a great place to really step up and level up your gameplay. And I think a lot of the time it's just try not to put it all on one person. If you can't go toe-to-toe with Combat, if you can't go toe-to-toe with Vanity, don't get over aggressive. Don't bite off more than you could chew. Set up as a team. Set up crossfires. Anchor. watch the lanes. Make sure that it's hard for those pop-off plays to happen for players like Vanity and Combat, and get each other's trades by holding those lanes down. And there's a lot of things that you could take into account as a team. That's more than just go kill them. You know, to get to that level of go kill them, you can do so many things as a team. Where it is, you know, those crossfires, you know, anchoring down points and making sure that your setups inside the hills, you're watching each other's backs and you're communicating what lines of sight you're actually watching. There's so many things that add up to that perfect playstyle that Colonel Esports needs to work on, and you can showcase that here in Tuscan, a map that you've played all year long.
Absolutely. And I think what you said was great. And to sum it up is really just play for each other, right? Make the game easier for one another. If you're making it easier for a teammate can in turn make it easier for you. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. And
exactly.
For Nickel State, if they can execute on that, well, then they could find some success here in this map number 4. But opening things up, it's going to be St. Edwards with the preferred side, and they're going to show you why. It's going to be a clean kill feed and early P1 control here off the break.
Yeah, Q-Tippy's going to be a little late to the action, but working on this flank, going to get the better of Vanity. Combat spots out Shen, jumps over the shoulder, going to take him down. 18 unanswered points for St. Edwards off the hop. Combat, he's not done just yet. The nade from Z-Max going to get the kill, but it's a little bit too late for his teammates. Reality's turned now in for the contention for the last 20 seconds to fight here. He's going to at least jump on top of C-Mac, but the trade for Nicole State gives them a little bit of points at the end of it. I love this call from Colonel Esports. They give up that first point. Now they lock in that second. The only problem is looking at Fiasco, and look at that. C-Mac, he gets rid of the problem.
You know the push is coming quickly through P5, but look how fast Q-Tippy is to react back and be ready for that. The push is coming through Plat. You've got SJ wrapping through P5 to pinch and flank. I like this, but again, you just can't win the gunfights behind it, unfortunately. You still have somewhat control with that team stun coming in. It's just a matter of, can you get semblance and form before they punish you for it for the side of St. Edwards.
I don't know how Q-Tippy just killed Reality in the kill feed. I don't want to know how that happened. Vanity's going to get shut down on the flank. All eyes forward for the rest of Colonel Esports. Combat, though, up top. Paces off because SJ, and that makes it a little bit harder to hold. Fiasco is going to lock in for some of this time. 26 to 34 as Colonel Esports were able to get themselves a little bit of a lead in this hill. So we're looking at the rotation now to P3, and the first ones there will be the Hilltoppers, Cash.
But C-Mac with an AR gets the first kill, at least to make that mid-map open for his teammates to push through. Now aggressively, it's just getting that player off that back heady. Combat gets traded. This is good for the side of Nickel State. You find a couple kills behind it, make that the third. You got one more to clear out on time, and then you know they're spawning roof. This could be good for Nickel State if they go quickly.
Reality all alone is going to get overwhelmed. Q-Tippy for the break, and in the back, Combat goes down. A team kill out of Fiasco's, things fall apart for St. Edwards. Looks like we're going to get another lead change here in P3 as the nade spam's going to come in. It's actually going to put a halt to the percentage of time that Nicole State are going to be gaining right now as the respawns through the middle of the map. Combat finds a double kill. Dreco all alone now in the back line. Has an AR in hand, 80 HP, and he can make this happen, though Vanity doesn't give him the time of day to take this gunfight. It's Q-Tippy off the respawn to clear it out. Lines up 2. Last one standing is going to be number 3, Reality, but SJ pieces him off, and that is perfect from Colonel Esports.
And this transition is so fast. They're playing so quick right now, and it's working because, again, look at the slaying. They are keeping up. 2 players, one player for either side with 10 kills, the rest with a handful of kills behind it. They're keeping up in slaying. That allows them to play faster around the map, so they want to try to get an early break here on P4 with the small lead that they've garnered. We'll see if they can replicate what they did on P3, but for now, Fiasco opens up with 2, and that's going to slow down this first push for the side of Colonel Esports.
Yeah, Shen Q-Tippy yet again. We're going to light the fire here for St. Edwards. Side Church, the Hilltoppers still holding down this time. You can see that Colonel Esports, they want to break through at some point. They want to get hold of this one, and they are going to just lock it down. St. Edwards holding strong in the inside. Vanity, another kill for himself as the MP42. He's doing it all right now, Cash. The side door. You can see a couple players now from Colonel Esports. They still want to fight for this 13 seconds. They're going to get it. Double kill on the inside of Church. Will flip things out for the scrap time.
P5. At least in the hands of St. Edwards for now. The mid-map also going to be won by them. So They at least know this next push possibly coming through top radio, but you have all of your players in position. Vanity finds 2, Fiasco behind it, just one more lying in wait. You know where they're going to be coming from, and this first 15-20 seconds could very easily go the way of St. Edwards if Nickel State can't find an opening.
The combat on screen. Nade there is going to zone things out. His teammates getting the job done around the hill. I mean, perfect kill feed there for the Hilltoppers, as now they take their lead a little bit farther. It's the base lead we've seen so far in quite a while. It's just the second wave of kills, but it's all going to be Hilltoppers yet again, only losing out on combat, but that's all you need. And take a look at that mini-map. Look at the map control that you have. Fiasco all the way deep inside a church. You got to be careful here if you're Nicole State University, because you're on the edge of getting flipped out for P1.
And that spawn coming in from SA should be the cue they need. Okay, someone's playing field or church that we don't know of. Now we'll see if they can sniff them out pillar, or do they line up for 2? Fiasco's going to find 1. Not able to find the second yet, and does finally as this hill pops. So you flip out, you end up losing P1 rotation. This is starting to slip away from Nickel State. We need a big response here.
Yes, you do. Fiasco, 3 in a row, finds his 4th, though. Cut down by SJ, and C-Max is going to double down on the outside, so Colonel Esports slot themselves into this hill quite comfortably. Plenty of time to play for here, and you can see that the Hilltoppers, they want to fight for it at all, but another split kill feed for 3 kills going the way of Colonel Esports. St. Edward's struggling to get things going now. A little bit of tables turned for their end, as last hit's going to come through for this P1 hold. Q-Tippy's going to be alone, and that's all you need right now if you're Nicholls State University. 14 seconds should even up this game.
This break from Nickel State, I'm going to be interested to see where they decide to push through. If they all go through one lane or they spread out. And with this map spread, it looks like it's going to be through Church P5 and field side. CMAC opens up with 1 on plat side. That should open up things for his teammates. The number's going to overwhelm Fiasco here. We'll see what they can do, but this break still on the cards for him here early.
Got a flank. Oh, Vanity pops off with 2. And the 4th one's going to get cleaned up, so off the respawn. Colonel Esports, they do get a close spawn through mid. They're going to walk right through Church, right into Reality for 3. Can't get the 4th one. C-Mac at least going to punish him for there, but the damage has been done, and Hilltoppers right back into this comfortable lead that we've seen before. This comfortable playstyle is, as soon as they get set up, they look like an iron wall, Cash.
And you have to be careful here if you're Nickel State. You want to push and don't want to give them a full 60, but here I like what they're doing. Playing it smart. You don't want to get flipped out and give them not only a full 60, but in turn a full 90, a full 120. They're going to try to lock down for P3 and respond here. They're only down 40 or 50 points, so it's not like it's too much here to come back from. Sure, we're getting close to that 200 and that 250 point mark. But if they can hold on and get a big chunk of time here, they could overtake the lead and now continue to put pressure on St. Edwards. This break, though, they've got to try to hold off for.
Fiasco fishing for a kill. It's a player on their wing, but nice read from Q-Tippy to hit that flank quickly, take down those 2 players, and actually finds the better of Reality as well. So 3 quick kills out of Q-Tippy, and that's going to continue his progression for Colonel Esports. Nobody in the hill for now, but soon enough you should see them hop in. Another 3 kills in the feed for Colonel Esports. Reality's going to drop as well. Last 23 seconds. Do you want to hit this if you're St. Edwards? Looks like they do, but they have to be cautious.
Q-Tippy, he has been pinching. P3, that was the second time around he's pinched P3 and gotten rewarded for it. Now all the way through the back.
Oh my
sprints
gosh.
Across the map and gets Reality off tank in the back. Now the front of Church is going to be open because you have to sniff out this player. The spawns should be flipping, and with player 3 Reality spawning out, that's going to be the spawn clearance in. I mean, for Nickel State, you are turning up at the perfect time.
This is exactly what I was hoping for, Cash. I mean, the team play, it is not selfish right now from Colonel Esports. They're getting the work done that they need to. And you're looking at the battle that I was highlighting. Combat versus C-Mac. C-Mac right now getting the better of them, 22 and 19. And not only that, you're having Q-Tippy running routes. That is just making your job even easier. As C-Mac's going to find another kill into Fiasco the inside. Vanity pops off 2. A fight for Church for the scrap time for the last 30 seconds. Reality gets the better of Draco. That should lock it in. I say that as Nicholls State are taking one last shot at it. 2 players going to be here. Combat around the back. Pieces off Q-Tippy. Lines up with Fiasco, and they're going to lock it down.
they need to come get this player off of P5 quickly. It was a near full 60 for St. Edward the last go round. You find that kill now, but you're not going to have a super strong setup. You've got to stop St. Edwards from getting good amounts of time here. You get the last laugh, at least at the previous hill. Should have close spawns wrapping through here. But again, Fiasco finding 2. You just can't let that happen at this point in the game. I mean, you should be able to trade that out. Now they're all here. Now they have 20 seconds to close it out. I mean, you just see plays like that, and it makes you wonder.
You have a flank from C-Mac, but it just might be a little too late. Q-Tippy doing everything that he can to hold this hill and contend. Combat's going to shut down C-Mac on that flank. SJ through the staircase, lines up 2. Nickel State not done just yet, Cash, but here comes Combat. A double kill for St. Edwards, mounts them back into the hill. C-Mac fighting for his life right now as he lines up a double kill. Vanity's playing a little bit coy, a little bit of back and forth. C-Mac dodges back in. Another double kill for C-Mac. We're going back to P1.
They don't have numbers. St. Edwards have numbers. This transition has to be great, and you find 2 on rotation, just 2 left on time. They're going to give up 5 seconds to know they've got to win these gunfights. Combat, though, playing a sneaky angle, going to find a couple. C-Mac, though, on fire right now. It's 3 for 1. On fire might not be hot enough for them to close this one out. Just 10 seconds needed. The break's got to be perfect.
This might be it. One last shot. Draco leading the charge. C-Mac to back him up. 2 seconds left. They hop in. They can task, but Vanity shuts down C-Mac. On the inside, it's Q-Tippy to go down. And St. Edwards University are meeting West Virginia for a rematch in round 8.
Whew. I mean, that was a fun finish. I wish it could have played a touch closer, but that P5 was really exciting to watch. And like you said, if you're St. Edwards, you get your rematch. You're going to meet it in the round of 8 here against West Virginia to try to best them. And, well, just having a look at this last play, I mean, reality, any of these players walking pieces. Combat did slow down and C-Mac got the best of them, but you look at Draco, who went 14 and 21, who had an electric series up until that point, essentially. Just kind of ran out of steam. So it was a great effort from Nickel State to try and best the St. Edward squad. You take a map off of them and you go toe-to-toe in a respawn. I mean, they looked pretty sharp at times, but for St. Edwards, when push comes to shove, they came out on top in the slaying column. And yeah, they get their rematch. And thinking on what team played cleaner of West Virginia and St. Edwards, I mean, both showed that, you know, they could bleed. I mean, for St. Edwards, you drop a map in its entirety, you do play a somewhat higher seed. But for West Virginia also, I mean, again, for either of these teams, who knows at this point?
It's the thing is playoffs time, Cash, and it's just a question mark in these matchups. Yeah, we had the head-to-head from the regular season, and West Virginia got the better of St. Edwards time and time again inside of that bracket, but it's just teams come different in playoffs, and I think we're seeing a brand new St. Edwards University going into this year. I'm excited for when we do get that matchup, but we have to talk a little bit about Colonel Esports now. They lose this match, but I was impressed with them at the end there. You know, if we got the same Colonel Esports in that hard point, you know, maybe in the Bokash, maybe in the Gavinsu Control, we probably would have seen a very different game. But
yeah,
for this team, I think constantly we're talking about how behind they are in their play. They have the means to win. They have the ability to find success in these maps. They take so long to piece it together, Cash. And by the time we see it in that last map, they're fighting against some top teams there, like St. Edwards University,
who just have that ability to close out series. I mean, again, the biggest pain point for Nickel State, you had Fiasco outnumbered on P5 2-1. Fiasco walks out with both kills. That again, you could substitute any St. Edwards player or any high caliber team player into that slot. You have to find a way to trade that out. If you have numbers for Nickel State, you've got to find a way to win that battle. Now, I'm not saying some good again. Playmakers are going to make plays at some point. That's just the given, right? But it was happening so frequently. Pinpoint any point in a respawn, and you found players finding multiple kills in succession. It'd be different if that was like the play that saved the game for St. Edwards, but that was just their norm. Players were popping 2 pieces throughout that entire Tuscan hardpoint. On a point when it mattered most at P5, you can't let Fiasco walk away with both kills there, because again, that was just a nail in the coffin. It just made you have to come back from a bit too much there. It put them within 10 points of winning on rotation to P1. So you have to find a way to trade out those big critical moment kills. And again, props to Fiasco and Vanity and Reality and any of the players on that team for having that ability to walk away with 2 kills in an outnumbered situation. But at least talking from a Nickel State fan standpoint, from a Nickel State, kind of regrouping standpoint, you just have to trade a bit better. In the S&Ds, they were winning in the first bloods, they were trading well, finding ways to find a couple of kills and life disadvantages, but in the respawn it's just not clicking for them. And that P5 is definitely going to be a pain point for him here, because if that would have been forced to a game 5, who knows what could have happened.
Exactly. You go back to the search and destroy, you have a chance for the upset. But as we're closing out on this series, don't forget, guys, action's not done for the NACE Star League just yet. I mean, this was your Wednesday night action, and coming up, we got Thursday night Smash tomorrow, Friday, no broadcast, Saturday and Sunday, Smash and CSGO back to back. So make sure that you're tuning in and paying attention, because there's plenty of things going on here in the NACE Star League. And Cash, that's going to finish up our last match for round of 16. Our bracket now for round of 8 is going to be interesting. We got Northwood versus Shenandoah, Texas A&M International versus Baldwin Wallace, St. Clair Saints versus Ontario Tech, and West Virginia versus St. Edward's University. I think that each of those matches are going to be insanely fun. I'm excited to see that Texas A&M International versus Baldwin Wallace game.
That's the exact one I was looking at too. I am excited to see. It's going to be another rematch where can Baldwin Wallace, come correct in the postseason? Again, it's their first year, right? Conwa says no one's got expectations for us to perform well. A big win against A&M International would be huge for them. And then, of course, Ontario Tech, right? It's only one round in, but you got to keep an eye on your Cinderella stories where they start to formulate. Hopefully it's not a one-and-done type of situation, and maybe they can make a deep run. But, yeah, definitely, it's so fun to root and follow those underdog storylines in the playoffs. And as far as this top team goes, all 4 1 through 4 seeds made it through, right? They're all in the round of 16? Or
every single team that won their conference finals are going to be found in the round of 8 as well. So there's a chance that we see, St. Clair versus West Virginia. But at the same time, I think there's a real big chance that we get a St. Edward's win and an upset in this number 12 match. Same thing with number 10. I mean, Baldwin Wallace, if they could take down Texas A&M International, I mean, that is a statement through this fall season. I think that Texas A&M have been, a team that has definitely shined through this year. I think we actually got an interview after the conference final for the Dust Devils as well, and they're saying that, as a new team inside collegiate Call of Duty, they really want to, cement themselves as a roster that you have to watch out for. And they're doing that. I mean, they get the job done very simply in a 3-0 sweep in the conference finals. Now they're going up against Baldwin Wallace. The big test for Texas A&M International, if they have that chance, will be Northwood University. If that's the big test for everybody right now, because Northwood University, they not only won NACE Star League last season, they won the CCL, they won the CCL launch at MW2. I mean, this is the team to beat, and they've already showed that even with this new roster, Cash, they're still championship caliber squad. Yeah,
that's definitely everyone gunning for that matchup, right? If you're A&M International, you want that, like you said, to cement yourself as a respectable and a team that can take down Titans. And for anyone here, even Baldwin Wallace, if you get the win tonight, right? Just to be able to match up against a team like that and see how you fare. I'm excited to see how the rest of this playoff ends up shaking out. But yeah, for the round of 16, I mean, that does it here for us. So it was a blast tonight, though, doing these matchups. Though they were, 3-1 and 3-0. Definitely some exciting things, and gets me more excited for more playoff action to come.
It is. Don't forget, folks, NACE Star League, we run around the clock, and tomorrow we got Smash. So stay tuned, stay ahead of the game for NACE Star League. We'll see you tomorrow with some more action, but for tonight, have a good night, everyone.